Hiller, or Endora. The black-haired guy is greeted, and in response he asks what happened. The guy asks the guests if they are ready for the next trip and asks them to wait. One of them asks the hero to leave the group from today. It was Oliver Cadiff, the swordsman. Oren asks the reason in surprise. They were friends since childhood. He had been his comrade all this time. Oliver acknowledges this but responds coldly and says that Oren was in the group because they were from the same village, but he was too old to have a future among them. Simply put, he lacks the ability. So Oliver asks him to leave their group. This group was formed together by Oren and Oliver 8 years ago, when they were 10 years old. Now they are called Union of Heroes, and it attracts many people. In the great labyrinth in the south, where no one has reached the end yet, reached an unprecedented 94th level, a super talented group that reached the 5th rank in a couple of years. The black-haired youth says that his abilities may be lacking, but this is also true for the other participants. If things stay the same, their strategy won't change. Oliver replies that Oren is their healer who does support magic. He didn't realize how important that could be, but it was last month's dragon subjugation. For the first time, Oliver realized how important a good healer is for them. He continued by saying that Oren's support magic was weak compared to other healers in 5th rank parties. Oren replies that naturally he is inferior to them. His main specialty is a swordsman. That's why he developed the original magic, and Tank enters the conversation, interrupting the hero. His name is Derek Maudsley. He says that the reason Oren changed his profession to a healer is probably because his sword skills are significantly inferior to Oliver's. The guy continued aggressively. Now Oren is a healer, and his abilities have become even lower. He is in no position to complain. The hero answered that the group needed a healer. Since he was the most suitable of all in their squad, he decided to do so. Oren says that his shortcomings are compensated by his magical technique, which allowed him to survive even in the depths of the labyrinth. Oliver replies that they are a group of heroes. They need to move on. He's already found a replacement for the healer role. He's sorry, but that's how it is. The hero is surprised and thinks, what is this? This is their attitude towards their brothers, with whom they have been together for so long. But for these guys, he knew that there was no need for him. If they've already decided on a replacement, there's no room for the guy here anymore. Oren said he's leaving. They've been taking care of him so far. A girl named Aneri Wilds, who is a mage in this team, happily says he is finally leaving here. He will become much better. Even if he says he can do magic and swordsmanship, it is still an A rank. But she is tired of seeing something like this. She asks if Oren knows what they say about guys like him, the ones who can do a lot of things but excel at nothing. Aneri continued, from now on he should be more careful. Oren said no and left. These guys always thought of him like that. He was only supposed to serve them. He thinks why he is interested in who will join this group. The next day, noon, Oren had just woken up and realized that he had overslept because he arrived at the hotel and went to bed early. He hadn't decided yet what he was going to do next. For a while, he will be able to live without any problems. But how will he earn money now? He has 3 options. First, be an explorer, as before. Make money by selling things he finds in labyrinths around the world. Second, find some job. Earnings may decrease, but life will be more stable. Third, become a merchant. Maybe he will be able to earn a lot of money, but the probability of this is extremely small. In the end, if you choose, there is only the work of an explorer. Oren does not want to be rich. He came to this city to become an explorer. He started together with Oliver. He did not want to follow Oliver's path and became an adventurer. It was his own willful decision. But now he has no need to fulfill his obligations in the group. The hero is going to become a swordsman again. If so, he'll need to regain his intuition. A new labyrinth has recently opened nearby. He thinks it's worth going and trying. The boy came but was stopped by a woman. She was a guild staff, and she asked if he wanted to go alone. Oren said yes and wondered if there was a problem. The woman replied that it was a dangerous place. She advised him to come here after he had formed a group. Oren thanked her for the advice, but it was no problem. He showed her the guild map and asked if she had looked at it correctly. She was very surprised to see the 94th level. She asked for forgiveness and admitted that her advice was wrong. The guy says that everything is fine. The woman allowed me to enter and returned the card. Oren entered the dungeon and thinks that this sudden change is related to cash, especially after he was kicked out of the hero group, meaning that he goes into the dungeon alone to earn money, so he is perceived as a newbie. First floor of the labyrinth. Oren saw a horned rabbit on the way. He thinks if it's a demonic creature of the level he needs, then he can test his swordsmanship. The hero tears the rabbit into 2 parts. He thought it was a good win, his hands were trained enough not to worry, not bad for a start. But the guy decided to go down a little lower and fully restore his intuition. The 3rd floor of the labyrinth, he met several goblins, although their number is gradually increasing. The creatures on this floor are still extremely weak. He decides to test his support magic. Support magic is a magic that mainly deals with increasing the physical abilities and equipment characteristics of the buff target. You will be able to not only help the party members, but also heal yourself. Strength increase activated. Now we need to deal with them. Oren goes to attack them. He cut the first goblin in half, early in the stomach. He defeated the other 3 as well. Support magic is a handy thing, but it has its weaknesses. Namely, time. Only 3 minutes. There are still monsters on the floor. He thinks he needs to practice a little more. The effects of support magic are not permanent. Also, its duration varies depending on individual magic resistance. In his case, it is 180 seconds. Therefore, the need to think, support the party members, or fight, timing the buff. A healer who uses support magic. He is always haunted by time. He is dependent on it. Strength increase. After this training, his intuition increased 20-fold. Swordsman and healer. This is a new style that combines 2 specialties. Now he has clearly defined his abilities. He recalls his partner's words about his abilities. Indeed, he could do many things, but he did not succeed in anything. But if he continues in the same spirit, Oren will never again be the man who can do many things but is great at none. He will become an adventurer who will be called the Jack of all trades. The 7th level of the labyrinth. Today he reached here. The record of the transition was saved. He used the crystal that is used to mark adventurers about the transition to the next floor. Another group came to the floor, making noise and arguing about something. One of them says that luring the girl into a trap and running away was the wrong decision. They were discussing how a large number of monsters suddenly appeared, and it was only natural to give priority to them, the guys from the group with whom he had been working for a long time. Unlike the girl who had just joined, one of them justifies himself. The hero stood and heard their conversation. He shouldn't react to it. Just a kid who had bad luck with the group. But he doesn't think it's someone else's problem, because he understands all this pain, because he was abandoned by the group too. Moreover, the situation where she was lured and left to die. Something like that. Oren tells the group that he can't stand this kind of talk. The group asks who he is. The guy continued saying that they were acting like children. Instead of helping the girl, they were standing there complaining. People like them are the most unpleasant type of people. One of them got angry and was going to fight the hero. He swung his fist in justification, but the hero caught his hand. The hero throws it with a spin. The young man told him to lie down for now, instead of making empty complaints. He asked where she was, where they left her. At the end of the road, turn right and take the 2nd lane on the left, they replied. Oren went to save her. The girl was pressed into a corner, out of fear and helplessness, surrounded by strong goblins. She would not be able to defeat them alone, but she doesn't want to die without doing anything. She uses her power. Before the magical power of her barrier wore off, she hoped for some help. She cries and calls for her older sister. The guy ran to her aid as fast as he could, wondering if it was a decoy. Those who live peaceful lives have no predisposition to form groups. The girl does not want to die, and calls her older sister. Airstrike. The girl was surprised by his sudden appearance. Oren arrived just in time, and told the girl to focus on the magical barrier. He would take care of the orcs. The girl understood, and thought that she didn't know him. Support magic. Strength increase. Technique increase. The guy is fighting and wondering if he should use support magic on the sword just in case. Increased damage. He uses support magic, thus surprising the girl. 13 orcs. If it's a low-level party, containment will be the only strategy. 10 seconds will be enough for him. The girl was surprised and thought to herself that this guy is strong. Oren dealt with all the enemies. He approached the girl and asked if she was okay. There seemed to be no visible wounds, but he would heal her just in case. He smiled, and the girl bowed in gratitude and blushed, saying that she was alive. The girl was very scared and started crying. She didn't know what she should do in such a situation. The guy stroked her head. In the situation when her friends abandoned her, she was so scared. The girl thanked the guy for saving her. At that moment, she thought it was all over. She says so when he came to help. It was really great. Oren was happy to help. It looks like magical monsters are coming, and they decide to get out of here. They survived. At the entrance, when the guy was leaving, the girl stopped him. She apologized again and thanked him for his help. She introduced herself. Her name is Sophia Credel. Credel, it really is an emblem. Oren says it's his fault for not introducing himself first. Sophia says he has a beautiful name. Sophia would like to thank him again, so she invites him to dinner. Oren says that he did not help her with the purpose of receiving any special thanks, but he agreed. Then he happily accepts the invitation and plans to pay for himself and her. She has already chosen the place. They came. It's a cheap restaurant, but the food is really good. A rabbit establishment. She wore their emblem. Sophia is really a searcher and belongs to the Silver Rabbits of the large Jotun clan. A clan is an organization of researchers. All the materials they bring are processed and sold. This is how things work with some restaurants and department stores. Sales go to equipment for researchers who are members of clans. This way, they can get better quality materials. Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky is one of the largest clans, attracting a large number of researchers. It is easy for Sophia to form some kind of group. The guy saw the silhouette of a familiar girl, to whom Sophia addressed as her sister. The girl says she had a meeting nearby, so she decided to grab a bite to eat here. She asks Sophia if she already has a boyfriend. She thinks that at Sophia's age it is still too early. Without finishing, she saw the guy and stood up. The girl says in a somewhat unfriendly tone that she hasn't seen Orendora for a long time. The guy agrees, naming the girl's name, Selma Credel, the leader of the 5th-ranked group, the pinnacle of the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky. Her fame is comparable to Oliver, the leader of the group of heroes. This is due to her beauty, and also because she is one of the best healers on the continent. She not only made the job of a healer prestigious and popular, she also created the concept of role within the group. In other words, tank, DD, and SAP. She proposed dividing all participants into 3 roles. This quickly became popular, and the structure of the group began to restructure. The group of heroes was no exception. As a result, he changed his specialty to a healer. In addition, it plays a role that Oliver saw her capture a dragon last month. He was written off for the long haul. Oren thought they just had similar last names, but she is Sophia's older sister. But still, the guy doesn't understand why the girl was staring at him so angrily. She asks to fall in love with her pretty 14-year-old sister. Will he have the courage for this? He doesn't understand what she's talking about. It's a misunderstanding. He really just wants to eat with her. He doesn't feel guilty about anything. Selma, surprised, asks if he thinks Sophia isn't nice enough for him. Sophia intervenes, telling her sister not to be rude to the savior. Selma asks if she went into the labyrinth alone again. The girl stumbles, not knowing what to answer. Starting from the day after tomorrow, they would dive into the big labyrinth every day and asked Sophia to wait. The girl apologized. So she was looking for the lost clan members. From now on, the girl will not act independently, according to her sister. Selma thanks the guy for his help. She is sorry that she was rude to him earlier. The hero suggests that they sit down quickly. They decide to have dinner together. This is the first time they can talk normally. Even when they attacked the dragon together, they only talked about the battle. The guy met her for the first time last month. Since they are both healers, they were put together. Selma took overall command, and he supported her in this. Sophia asks how long they have known each other. Selma replies that she doesn't know who Oren is, since he is one of the heroes. The girl was surprised and blushed. Oren said it didn't matter, and said that he was no longer with the group of heroes. Selma was surprised and asked what happened to Oliver if he threw out a man like Oren. He had to keep Oren, no matter what, and asked the reason. The hero answered that there were certain circumstances. Now he is free. Maybe she wants to invite Oren to the Silver Rabbits. But the hero only recently learned about this from the party members. The guy interrupted the girl from her proposal, saying that he doesn't want to join anything yet. Selma says that this is the perfect chance. She wants him to go with her the day after tomorrow and asks if he wouldn't mind helping with the search. The silver rabbits in the night sky are planning a new attempt. Therefore, they need adventurers of rank A and above to descend to the 51st floor of the Great Labyrinth in the south the day after tomorrow. It's not a reasonable schedule for a hero. It takes half a year to a year. It's unreasonable, but doable if you take the shortest route. It's all because of their sponsor's nerves. The team is also shaking the situation up, the guy says, but if they have a bad plan, it's okay. They should have discussed it with the sponsor. Unless they're going there for some other reason. Oren realized that newcomers cannot defeat the floor bosses. If they explore the lower floors, they can increase the clan's overall strength. The hero is smarter than the girl expected. In the labyrinths, the explorer cannot move to the next floor without defeating the bosses on every 10 floors. The boss fight is the biggest problem for newbies. They are often injured or killed. But as long as experienced adventurers are nearby, they can guide them. The newbie who accompanies the adventurer registers with the crystal and does not fight the boss. In other words, it greatly limits the beginner's ability to develop their skills. That's why she wants the hero to accompany her during her exploration. She thinks it's important for him to hear their plan. That's why she tells it to a stranger. Selma takes the boy's hand and tells him that she thinks highly of him. The girl says she realized this during their dragon taming together. He is glad that she is speaking honestly with him, but does not understand what she is basing her words on. After all, Oren is a former member of the hero group. During their conquest together, his support magic was inferior to hers. She wants him to become a healer again. Come to think of it, he will soon regret it. Oren declined the offer, thanking him and saying that he had his own plans. Sophia tells the guy that she will participate in the expedition as a newcomer. She would be glad if he would take part in it and asks him. The hero heard them and agreed to help. The girls were happy to hear this. However, he has one condition. It seems that Selma has appreciated him as a healer, but from now on he returns to the role of a swordsman and asks him to accompany her in this role. The girl is surprised, but she will not refuse. If things take this turn, then Selma can act as a healer herself. She asks him if he can come to headquarters tomorrow at 20 o'clock. There they will talk about details and awards. He understands. After dinner, the sisters walked down the street and talked about how Oren was a really good person. Selma, a little jealous, says that she won't lose to anyone either, and even if they are orcs, she can defeat 100 of them without getting injured. Sophia confirms, saying that her sister is the most outstanding healer and her best friend. The older sister looks at her little sister with a smile and thinks that she is so glad that this little one is okay. In any case, Selma thinks about the place of the group that betrayed Sophia. She heard the names of all the participants and will be able to do something. The girls have already arrived at the headquarters, the main headquarters of the clan Silver Rabbits. Now they must focus on finding the adventurers. Selma will give a report on today's events, and Sophia will return to the room. Before leaving, Sophia tells her sister not to be late, and that she is really looking forward to seeing her. The sister thought to herself how cute Sophia is. Silver Rabbit's clan president's office. Selma entered the office to report 2 pieces of news to the leader. This is Vince Breas, the best of the clan. In his first year as president last year, he brilliantly helped the clan during the crisis. He is the one who is trusted by all members. The first news concerns a group of heroes. The president sighed heavily because he didn't think they would discuss this. The girl reported that Oren had left the group of heroes. He says that this is a heavy blow to the group of heroes. After all, they descended so deep thanks to his buffs. Oren's support magic is lower than the average rank, but his magic activation speed is incredibly fast, about 4 times faster than the president. Also, the hero has an original magic that even the leader does not know about. The guy used it several times. The ability to assess the situation, look ahead, and provide magical support in time. Oren has all the skills to become an ideal healer. The weakening of the group of heroes is inevitable after losing Oren. The girl thinks that the Silver Rabbits have a chance to rise even higher. The leader heard about it last month, but he couldn't believe it. Selma says that it is still difficult to evaluate a good healer. She is sure he has attracted public attention. Isn't real power as invisible as he is? The girl asks. Next comes the second report. Oren will be accompanying them during the search operation. The leader asks what they will gain from this. Tomorrow she will talk to him at the headquarters. Perhaps he wants to use the clan's help when he agreed to this. Vince says these pushy aristocrats keep telling him they're not interested in the plan, and he's a little worried their support might falter. In any case, the president will be present tomorrow. In any case, he thinks she has a reason why she is so indifferent to him. For example, Selma wants to be a member of the first squad and lead it, but the leader is most interested in whether Oren is suitable for the first squad, whether he can become a trump card that can replace him. The girl does not know this for sure, but she thinks it is definitely possible. The president asked, but he is a healer, isn't he? And she wants to replace a member of her party. The leader can't allow that, considering that he kept the balance in her. The girl wonders if the hero wants to show his strength in battle, since he changed his class to a swordsman. That's all. The girl apologized for disturbing and left the office. Even though the group of heroes has shrunk, they haven't advanced one step since the beginning of the year. It's hard for Selma. Selma sat down and felt upset about the problems, but remembered her little sister. She thought about Sophia and smiled. Selma Cradell is the best healer on the continent, and actually quite sensual. Thoughts about her sister take up all her free time. The next day, Oren came to his grandfather and said that from tomorrow he would go to the labyrinth. Therefore, he was going to replenish his supplies. Grandpa is the head of this store. The most interesting thing is that for the hero, he is a real grandfather who loves the hero, because the hero does not remember his parents. The number of Grandpa's clients has stabilized. Thanks to the hero, he is thriving. Grandpa says he appreciates everything the boy has done for him. Oren admits he is no longer a part of the hero group. He is no longer fit for promotion. Since he is no longer with them, he has no influence and apologizes by worshiping. Grandpa pats the hero on the head and says that he is happy enough that they have the opportunity to talk to each other. Grandpa also said that Oren has already done enough and thanked him. The hero had a tear running down his face and thanked his grandfather. The grandfather says that the boy had always put up with it. It had been hard for him. Oren asks why he is crying then. Grandpa said that sometimes it's hard. There's nothing wrong with crying. Thanks, Grandpa, he thought. Oren came to Selma and followed her. She imagines that he looks happier now than yesterday, and asks if it was nice to leave the hero's party. Oren replied, yes. This is the place they came, south of the entrance to the Great Southern Labyrinth. Oren stood and looked there, when suddenly someone came and said, good morning. They were sisters. Sophia was dressed differently than last time, the hero noticed. The guy told her that she looked great in that dress. The girl became embarrassed and thanked him. Selma, who was watching this, was surprised and irritated, saying that it seemed like the hero was used to communicating with girls and asked if he had had any romances. Oren replied that there was nothing wrong with that. Being in the hero group, he lived with a member, so he was just used to it. Sophia asked where he was living now. He was currently living in a hotel, but was thinking about renting a room. Selma, surprised, asks the reason for such a question, and whether Sophia wants to push him to do it. Sophia replies that it's different. She just got a little flustered and called her sister stupid. Selma clears her throat. Selma asks Oren why he is so far away from the others. He is a stranger to them, and he wonders if this will cause unrest among the newcomers. All the newcomers stick together. Selma uses her power to relieve the tension from the newcomers and tells them to follow her. Sophia joins her own group, Beta. They certainly have their work cut out for them. Headquarters. Last night. As promised to them, he came to their headquarters. President Vince was there too. Selma explained the project in general terms. Oren sums it up. The search period will be 3 days. Their target is the 1st to 5th floors of the Great Southern Labyrinth. Considering that they need to ensure the safety of the newcomers, they will not stay overnight and return when they reach the floor. 10 groups of newcomers participate. 5 leaders are responsible for this, including Selma and him. The battle with the demonic beast is carried out by a group of newcomers in turn. In case of an unequal battle, command passes to the hands of the leader. At least they will have a march. The hero wonders why there are only 5 leaders. If they dared to take such an illogical approach, it would have been possible to take a rank A group and support newcomers, minimizing the risk, the hero says. Their goal is to bring as many newcomers as possible to the lower floors. Some difficulties lead to the growth of newcomers, the girl answers. This is their official position. They do not care about the process in this regard, where the main thing is the result. They must have another reason. But the hero does not think that they will tell it. He agrees to help. The hero is told about his reward, 2 gold coins, and the leader will give him the remaining 10 upon completion of the task. The guy was surprised and asked if it was too expensive. If they succeeded, he would be able to live for a whole year without denying himself anything. Selma replied that it was all because of his skills and said to try tomorrow. Oren replied that he would do his best, looking slightly embarrassed. In the end, the president didn't say anything about it. The hero still has doubts about the content. Selma came to the team and said, "Good morning, guys." One guy with blonde hair, another with dark hair, and a girl with short hair greeted her. These are other leaders. Selma guarantees the hero's experience. It will be promising, they expect a lot. The guy asked not to overestimate expectations. He introduced himself and would take an attacking position in the vanguard. Leaderboard, 2 tanks, Ansel and Bando, heel cat.
It's a balanced party.
If there was no hero, would she call someone to play the role of attacker? Oren wonders. They've got it all figured out. Selma asked these 4 to give it their all for 3 days. Selma said he should work with the newbies. She greets the students and tells them today's goal. Then she notices that they have a gloomy expression on their faces and asks if they are afraid to suddenly find themselves in the middle of a great labyrinth. Selma says confidently, "Don't worry, they have trained an excellent specialist in case of unforeseen circumstances." And introduces Oren. He is an adventurer who has reached the 94th floor, which they have not even reached. The newcomers begin to whisper. The girl said that if they want to become adventurers, they will learn a lot from him. Besides, he used to be a member of the group of heroes. She concluded her address by saying that he knew more about the Great Labyrinth than anyone else. The newcomers were inspired. The hero wondered to himself whether they weren't excited about going into the labyrinth. Selma said confidently, "Let's start exploring the maze."
The girl thought to herself,
So that's what it means to relieve tension. And she said, "Take a place in each group and wait for confirmation from all the leaders." The guy came up to her and asked if she had raised their fighting spirit. Wasn't it too early? To which he received the answer, "No, the achievement of the Orn in the group of heroes will still play its part." After all, their goal is to send newcomers into the labyrinth with peace of mind. Oren will be the leader of the 9 and 10 groups. All the newcomers were screaming and ready for anything, but the hero was surprised. The 10th includes the most promising newcomers. If they train within the group, they will be useful in the middle of the maze. Newcomers with high potential. Oren meets and introduces himself to his team. They enthusiastically and in unison asked to be taken care of. The guy thought to himself, this is what the hero group member effect means. Sophia also entered here. The hero asked everyone to state their names and ranks. The group consisted of 3 people. The risk of dying increases with the number of participants, especially since they are new, he thought. The young man from the group confidently said the reason was that they were the best of the best. Oren thought it was possible. But such conceit at a young age surprised him. Since everyone is here, there are no more questions. Then, the 10th group, introduce yourself. A confident young man named Logan Hayward, the leader of Team 10, started out. He is a support, and he is the one who will surpass Selma, according to him. The hero thought to himself that Logan was full of confidence and asking for the next one. Her name is Caroline. Her role in the group is tank. Oren asked if she was wearing light armor. Would she put on her main armor before entering? Caroline is a tank who doesn't wear heavy armor. She doesn't like being attacked by monsters. But she wants to kill them, so she's a mixed DD and tank. The last one is Sophia Crodel. She takes the position of an attacking mage in the rear guard. This was the most ordinary greeting, but the hero felt lighter in his soul. He means, wouldn't this mission be too difficult for them? Finally, they started the search operation. The newcomers are in a good mood. Caroline asked Oren why a member of the hero party was participating in their expeditions. She thought their clan was in competition with them. He replied that he was no longer in the party of heroes. And as for the threat, they really did pose one. The hero was following the course of the confrontation. The girl asked why he was no longer a member. After all, a group of heroes are people who are adored by everyone. Oren thought that she should stop. She seemed to be the type of person who asked questions directly without thinking about the question. He replied that it had nothing to do with her. The girl decided to ask Sophia, since they knew each other. Sophia said that an incredible person would come to help them and ask her, right? Sophia became embarrassed and asked what was going on. Caroline asked her why he decided to help us. Sophia answered that he was a very strong member of the hero party, and besides, her sister said that they would be safe with him. Then Sophia has no reason to worry, right? The girl asks. Sophia confirms this. Maybe Caroline started the conversation to relieve Sophia's tension, the hero guesses, and wonders if she is so considerate of others. Suddenly, two wolves saw the team and ran towards them. Oren noticed them, and just as they were about to attack, he killed them with his power. It was a well-timed spell. It takes skill to match the timing. It is difficult to strain from the moment of the spell's start until it is cast. With it, they will be able to defeat demonic enemies without disturbing the main party. Time is limited. They can't get stuck in some useless battle. The 20th floor of the Great Southern Labyrinth. Caroline asks the master how much longer it will take them to get to the floor boss. If they keep going at this pace, they will get there in 10 minutes. So far, they have no big problems, so they will finish even earlier than planned. Oren had only seen them fight so far. He was initially concerned about the formation of a group of only 3 people, but it seemed that this was not a problem when there was a good leader. First of all, Logan. The hero thought he was just a cocky newbie, but his abilities as a healer are undeniably good. If the young man can maintain his effectiveness in long battles, this young genius will play an active role in A-rank groups. It's a pity that the team needed for the heal should be of the same level. Well, it would be better if they gained experience in battles. Then there's Caroline. Because she's going for a tanky style, her speed is amazing, but she has 2 questionable points. The first is how she darts to the side when the demonic beasts approach her. Tanks should be good at closing in on them, not watching and worrying. The second is her weapons, 2 daggers. She's really good with them, but the group might not have the strength to take out the enemies. And finally, Sophia. She is slightly inferior to these 2, but her abilities are already better than those of the newcomers. She is not very active, but this will change as soon as she becomes more sociable. Oren is looking forward to her growing powers in the future. As a newcomer, she has no visible flaws. The 9th group, the hero will watch their future with interest. The 20th floor boss has been destroyed by the leaders. Everything had gone suspiciously smoothly today. Perhaps the hero had underestimated the silver rabbits in the night sky after all. Everyone was moving to the 21st floor. The expedition would be over after they had finished registering with the guild. They began to save. Sophia and Caroline also happily saved. Everyone came out of there, and when Oren left, he was thanked for his work. It was Selma. Selma asked him how the newcomers were. In general, the 9th group is looking forward to further action. And as for the 10th group, everything is, as she said, they are quite promising, he answered. But they don't cooperate with each other. Especially Caroline, who acts inconsistently with her role. However, compared to previous attempts, they have improved their skills. They said goodnight and went their separate ways. The next day, Oren holds up the paper with an irritated look and says that it finally happened. On one of the pages of the newspaper, there is a headline, an exclusive coverage of the fact that the healer in the group of heroes has been replaced, thus making his expulsion public. What was written there, according to their leader, the unrivaled swordsman Oliver? The most important factor in replacing this position was that the predecessor, Orn, did not have outstanding abilities. Oliver did not know that Orn's abilities were below the average healer. In other words, the group of heroes still lacks experienced personnel. Their recent recruit, Philly Carpenter, who actively participated in the exploration of the Great Labyrinth of the West. Her skills are close to the strongest healer on the continent, Selma Crodell. Even if they do not continue their victorious march through the labyrinth in a new composition, they have caught up with a lot of anticipation. Oren sighed and said that at least until the expedition ends, they will wait. If the team finds out that the hero didn't leave on his own, but was kicked out of the group of heroes, he's afraid that the students' opinion of him will change. Especially Logan from the 10th squad. Will such a smug child listen to his orders? Although the hero thinks that all students like to read newspapers, it is easy to imagine how much their opinion will change after reading. Oren was walking down the street when suddenly his name was called. It was Luna Flockhart, a mage doctor, a representative of the group of heroes. She said embarrassedly, "We haven't seen each other for a long time. 4 days have passed since their last meeting." When the guy was still in the group, the members' attitude towards him gradually worsened. Luna was the only one who communicated with him, as before. When the hero was expelled, she was absent due to helping her parents. It seems Oren still has feelings for the group of heroes. The girl asks to return to the group. They need his strength. Oren had expected her to say something like that. Luna had always had a good opinion of him. The guy asks if this is the group's decision. Judging by the morning article, it seems that it is not. The girl says that it is her decision. She confidently says that if he comes back, she will try to convince the others. Luna, she really wants him back. But it's too late. Oren replies that judging by this article, he no longer has the opportunity to return, and he was not going to return. The girl has not read this article yet, so she does not really understand what is going on. Luna says they promised each other to capture the Great Labyrinth together. It was a promise made by her, Luna and Oliver. But that promise no longer makes any sense because he kicked Oren out. Luna doesn't give up saying it might be true, but still, it's very hard for a hero to digest. He turns away from her, saying that he is very sorry, and he has to go because he is late. The girl sadly watched him leave. Oren would certainly like to fulfill his promise to these three, but he has nowhere else to return to. It was all over that day. It was too late. The hero group's healer, Orendora, was expelled due to his lack of ability. The boy worries about how many people believe him after this article. Among the newcomers, one of them asks if they read the newspaper this morning. They discussed how Oren was expelled from the group of heroes due to his lack of abilities. Oren approached the newcomers and greeted them. They lowered their eyes to the ground and responded in kind. A huge difference from the previous day. This is after the hero encouraged the newcomers. They are most likely confused. Selma ran up and apologized to Oren. The hero replied that she had nothing to apologize for and said not to worry. The girl asked him to speak in front of all of them yesterday to encourage the newcomers. She was very sorry that she did not know all the circumstances. Oren says that everything is fine. He himself created the inconvenience with his silence. But still, their training expedition is going well, and asks her to behave as decently as always. The girl understood and went, leaving her support to him. Groups 9 and 10. Assembly point. The girls from the 10th squad greeted the hero, like yesterday. The others and the 9th squad greeted him sadly. Oren greeted everyone and asked if everyone understood the content of the morning article. The guy says it's almost true. He was kicked out of the group because of his powerlessness, and said he wasn't the hero they were all waiting for. He regrets not talking about it. Sophia suddenly screamed that Oren was insanely strong. He single-handedly managed to defeat more than a dozen orcs. And he says that this is why Oren-san has enough abilities. The hero has blessed the girl. Everything is as Sophia said. They go to the 51st floor of the Great Labyrinth. It's true that he's no longer in their group. But that doesn't change the fact that he's a hero. On behalf of Orendor, a simple seeker, he vows to protect them, same as yesterday. The guy wants them to do everything to make the expedition a success. The newcomers are inspired, all except Logan. The 31st floor of the Great Southern Labyrinth. The 9th group. They fought the monster and won. They trust Oren again. From today on, he as the leader had to give them orders, although the atmosphere was still tense, especially for the 9th group, who never listened to orders. Today would have been nothing if he hadn't regained their trust. There are signs of monsters ahead. Oren asks if the 10th group is ready. The girls confidently confirm their readiness, but Logan remains silent. Caroline, distract the goblins. Logan, support Caroline with magic and healing. Sophia, clear the rear of orcs. Now the hero worries about Logan and his support magic. Increase magic power. Increase physical strength. Increase strength. And all at the same time. Such a newbie, and already using 3 spells at the same time. Looks like there will be no need to worry about magic. Caroline is as fast as ever, but it doesn't look that bad. The question is whether Sophia, who only yesterday encountered orcs for the first time, will be able to. After all, due to the trauma caused by the orcs, she may not be able to withstand it. Oren tells her to calm down. Sophia has 2 friends now, Caroline and Logan. Decreased agility. The hero will be with her. Even if she makes a mistake, he will cover her. Now Sophia's not alone, so he asks to try. The girl agrees and will try. Sophia at the time when she was abandoned all alone is very different from the Sophia of today. Now she will definitely be okay. She uses a fire spear. Yeah, the guy said to try hard, but she tried unexpectedly hard. An explosion from which not a single orc was visible. The rest of the squad watched this in surprise. Oren was not told that she was capable of high-level magic. Caroline ran happily to Sophia, talking about how cool it was. The girls happily hugged each other. Caroline was genuinely happy that Sophia had succeeded. Oren also praised the girl. The girl thanked him. After that, they fought for a long time, and eventually reached the 36th level. In the end, they all rose to the surface of the earth and returned home. Tomorrow is the last day. They all need to rest to be in good shape. So everyone is free, Selma said goodbye to them. Silver Hair of the Night Sky, leader. Bernard, along with leader Yance, asked if Oren was okay. The hero answered that he was, and asked what happened. Bernard answered that nothing happened, and invited them to have dinner together. The boy agreed to go with them with pleasure. They hadn't talked much while exploring the dungeon. This was a good opportunity. At the same time, Logan asks Sophia if she knows Oren. She replied that she had only recently recognized him. 3 days ago, he had helped her in the labyrinth. The young man asked if she had gone alone. The girl replied that she had. Carolyn considered this strange behavior. Logan asks to be kind and tell him more about Oren. The young man wants to know as much as possible about him. The girl doesn't know what to tell. Logan reminded her that Oren used magic then. A huge onslaught of wind, like a shockwave. Also, the rest is Shien Majutsu support magic. He did something like strengthening the sword. This sword was so strong that it could cut through literally anything. It wasn't just magic, he was also good with a sword. The girl replied that it was probably because of his training, because he had converted several of his abilities. The young man wanted to see it with his own eyes. Even with all this, he fought perfectly. This morning, Logan was confused when he learned that Oren had been kicked out of the guild. He was very angry at the injustice. Initially, the young man did not think Oren was a strong adventurer, but later he realized that he was wrong. When the monster's movement slowed down, Mr. Oren activated the speed, reduced his radius with the power of support. Logan was surprised. After all, debuff magic is very difficult to master. You need to know all the subtleties and techniques of movement. Selmo rarely uses it, and Oren applied the debuff without much effort. Logan fought under the command many times and admired him every time. On their first campaign, when Logan was just mastering support magic, they dealt with the enemies very quickly. The young man tried to change the method of attack and felt that his strength had increased many times. All this thanks to training. The young man wants to continue following Mr. Oren because he is his mentor and best friend. Sophia decides to become a vanguard attacker to be the strongest. The girls decide to pump up their skills together. Logan thinks that some people say that Oren is a genius, without understanding what it means. The young man will not give up. He wants to succeed, no matter how. To help Oren, he wants to become stronger. Restaurant Night Rabbit. Everyone drinks and asks Oren to tell a story. Bernard says he knows Oren has a lot of interesting stories. They'll get drunk tonight, since going to work with a hangover won't be so good. Ansem doesn't know how to greet Oren. Bannard says, why greet Oren? Maybe it would be better to sing him a hymn. It's midnight. After the missions, they decided to relax properly, so they decided not to think about anything, but just eat. Bannard wondered if it was normal for them to have fun for no reason. It's better than sitting and racking your brains over books every night, one of them answered. Bernard says he's a fool, because there are so many political problems now. Today's news made Oren very angry, so he excludes things without understanding anything, and thinks that he is just unlucky. Oren asks to change the topic to hobbies. Bernard and Ansem were surprised that Oren spoke. Ansem asked the hero if that was how they treated a vanguard attacker. If he hadn't used magic, he wouldn't have been defeated. Bernard asked what had happened. He had permission to use magic. Why was he able to turn it into a sword now? As a child, the hero loved to fight with swords. As a child, he dreamed of becoming a swordsman. He was curious to know what it was like. That's why he decided that this was a great opportunity to try to take up a sword, Oren answered. Ansem says that a lot of time has passed since then, and asked if his parents were against it. The parents didn't really say anything, the hero answered. Oren's grandfather, a former adventurer, defeated a demon beast with just a sword. After that, the hero aspired to become like his grandfather. Ansem clarifies that this is why Oren wants to become the strongest. It happened when they were going down into the dungeon. Then there was an earthquake, and the monster was huge. The hero had to slow it down, but he didn't have any knowledge. He didn't understand it then. He should have pumped up these abilities initially, but for some reason he had to use it. That's why he did it, and the guy didn't care about the consequences. There was only one goal: to defeat the monster. He had mastered the basics of fencing and decided to use a sword while simultaneously using magic. In the end, he was right. He, Fuetsushi, will become the strongest adventurer. Don't jump to conclusions just yet. He has many plans now, says Oren. Banner did not understand and asked what it meant. The hero can't tell them now. He's already given away too much. As soon as he puts his plan into action, they will all know. Banner asks what will happen. They will have a new swordsman. Oren replied, perhaps. They had a great chat today. He was very happy. But the guys were left with questions. A labyrinth that Oren wants to go through alone. He thinks it will help. One of the guys says Oren is too fixated on this. Silver Rabbit Clan headquarters. Shower. The girls are swimming. Caroline says that tomorrow the training trips will finally end. She is tired. They already miss Oren. Sophia wonders what the hero is doing now. Caroline asks why she worries about it. Because he is strong, he can handle everything. Sophia agreed. Caroline wants to become like Mrs. Selma. Strong and beautiful. Sophia says that it will be even better. But Sophia is so lonely without him. The girl misses Oren very much and is looking forward to their next meeting. After chatting with the guys at the Silver Rabbit, he was able to set a goal for himself. Oren hopes that today will end well. People were discussing new artifacts appearing in the depths of the dungeon, which the hero heard. They discuss how the team of heroes will soon reach their goal. They must make an announcement this evening. They are moving much faster than the hero expected. Oren's plans are changing. The hero assumed that they would reach the 92nd floor, but not so quickly. They don't even think about the consequences. The guy is worried, because in the worst case, they will get into trouble. 2 days ago, hero party. Philia Carpenter introduces herself and asks for love and favor. The hero party is a grand reception for adventurers and a thank you to them. Special thanks to the leader, Oliver. This party is organized in honor of the strongest heroes like them. Plus, it's a chance to win even more rewards. The girl says they should be there. It's not a problem. He decides to take a break for a bit. They also found an expensive book and are discussing how they will get rich. They will get a decent price for the book, continuing to discuss money. The girl asks if they will come to the party. If there is no payment, Derek is for it. They won't have to pay, just be present. Aniri asks Oliver to agree. Since the party is for heroes, Oliver agrees. Toast. They finally get to have a proper rest and drink to the new team member. The moon came late, but on time. She was in a hurry. She thought Oren didn't come, so they had only just started. They said they had banished Orn. But Luna was against it, so she had to resign herself. It seems this sweet speech is unavoidable. Quite a law-abiding person. Luna says they are having a celebration, but she heard that Oren has teamed up with the Silver Rabbit and that he is going to the dungeon and asks if it is true. Oliver was surprised by what he heard, thinking, how dare Oren? And Neri shouted irritably that this was nonsense. Oren would not rise above the current C rank. Luna asks to tell what really happened. Oliver didn't want her to know the truth, but Luna answered that it was Oren's own fault that he was expelled. Now they are having a party and asks not to spoil their mood. Luna asked if Oren had come here, so they had set it all up. Derek screamed why she was blaming them and saying that they were set up. Then he said that Oren decided to leave himself, that's why they expelled him. The girl asked seriously if it was true. Oliver said that she had misunderstood everything. The new girl did not join them because of Oren. The new girl says that she is a new member of this team and asks not to be angry. The girl apologizes and says he wouldn't have stayed here anyway. He's probably already left and asks if she wanted to see him. Derek is angry that they have a new member and orders them not to ignore him. Luna turns around. Oliver brings him to his senses, telling him to calm down. The leader asks Luna if she understands that Oren has chosen his path. She says that it's not like that. He wouldn't leave it that easy. Because she knows him, they've been through a lot. Besides, Oren's abilities are superior to theirs. Without Oren, she sees no point in staying here. Everyone falls silent. No matter how you look at it, it's impossible to convince her now. Aniri says, stop being hysterical. It's time to come down to earth and face the truth. The girl continues by saying that nothing has changed. If she doesn't like it, just accept it. Luna was upset and said that even if it was so, now was not the best time to have fun. The dungeon expedition will begin tomorrow. It is unlikely that the 94th floor will be captured immediately. Therefore, there is no point in making a fuss now, and asks to stop it. Derek shouted, "If there is nothing else to say, do not interfere with them." Oliver stopped Derek. Luna said that all of them, she is very sorry to look at them. You will destroy yourself and others at the same time. Oliver asked again, "Let's destroy," and said that they will not die, even if they reach the 90th floor. The girl asked where such confidence came from. The leader says that they have overcome all the other floors. Even without Orin, they will manage. The girl asked what ability Philia has. Luna asked, even if she was there as support, what was the probability of winning? And she said that was nonsense. Oliver thinks she's too attached to Orin and says he's already made up his mind and it's not up for discussion. The girl understood and left. Derek and Aniri began to discuss this topic irritably. The new girl approached the leader and said that it seemed that Luna was very upset right now. The girl was sure that Luna would cope. Philia understands, so she suggests that they relax a little. Afterwards, the girl whispered that it wouldn't be easy. It was annoying. Oliver asked if she had said anything. She replied that she had decided that she really wanted to get along with Luna. 9th floor, Southern Labyrinth. 92nd level. The monster attacks, and Oliver runs screaming against the monster. He attacks the monster, but he can't defeat it. The strength quickly ran out. He didn't understand why so quickly. The stone's effect is running out. If nothing is done, the body will not withstand it. Orin could easily use it for an hour, not understanding why this happened to him. In the labyrinth, so many monsters passed, not knowing how much time passed. The leader ordered Philia to find another buff, since his buff was running out. The girl apologized for not feeling it right away. As expected, she is still a newbie. She doesn't have much experience. You'll have to be patient for a while. Even after moving to the 3rd floor, Philia's aura has changed a lot. Maybe it's because of the change in environment. Oliver warns Derek that there are a lot of blind spots. And as for forgiveness, there is some activity in the blind spot. Maybe it is a demonic beast. The leader asks how the new girl is feeling. The girl apologizes and says that the atmosphere and circumstances are not right now to use magic properly. She has been a mage for 10 years, but now she is simply useless. Oliver yells at Aniri that this is the last floor and asks why she is using such weak magic. She replies that she is doing it to avoid problems later. The leader does not understand how one can use low-level magic against such a monster. This is already a serious problem. Derek says not to relax. He understands that the situation is critical. Such attacks will not help against him. Each time the leader was saved by the sword. He could easily cut down any enemy, and now even support magic does not help. As for the monster, they are obliged to kill it. Oliver doesn't understand why they're so weak. Luna says she doesn't even know what answer he's expecting. The girl doesn't know anything. Even she can't say anything. Aniri angrily asks how Luna can act like this when her comrades are in trouble. Luna asks comrades and says that they were initially weak. Luna suddenly stood in place, surprised. A monster was approaching, which they did not recognize and went to shelter. Black color, huge wings, the size of which is larger than the body. It is getting closer and closer. This is the Black Dragon, the floor boss. Level 92. Without Orin, they can't defeat him. Black Dragon. Black scales that are like resin, almost immune to any kind of attack. It will deal with a person in no time. The aura is terrifying. Oliver asks what this monster is doing here. Bosses in the south of the Great Labyrinth should be located every 10 floors up to the 90th. From the 91st, every floor. The floor boss is a powerful monster. Therefore, it is impossible to defeat such in close combat. And the boss's range is limited by its location. It cannot go beyond its territory and attack directly. Besides, the Black Dragon is the boss of the last 2 levels of the floor, so it shouldn't be here. They definitely won't be able to win now, especially since it's out of its zone. A single roar threw them back. Terrible power. The leader asks if Derek is okay and what's going on with Philia. The girl stood silently in place. Things were bad. Just like that time. Derek used all his strength against the Orn. We have to retreat. Someone is shouting the leader's name. They have no chance of winning, they have to retreat. Luna says give the order. Even if they retreat, he will pursue them. The leader asks Philia if she can move. The girl says yes. He asks her to be his support, he will fight him. Strength increase. Oliver thinks that's enough. The situation is critical. so there's no other way. He is preparing to strike. Magic convergence. Oliver's sword glowed with light. Oliver himself possesses this unusual ability. The chance of winning is high because he gets rid of monsters with this power. Initially, there was no need to use it. Oliver's ability activates a magical barrier around its bearer and concentrates all the power in the sword. In other words, it absorbs energy and then splashes it out. This golden flash contains enormous power. It is Oliver's main trump card. There was a flash of light in the sky and the blow was dealt. The guy looked at the explosion with confidence and thought, bite me. During the last raid, he used this skill to take off his wings. Now he can't fly. Without his wings, the black dragon is not as agile. Now he can't keep up with them, they might retreat. At that time, the smoke from the explosion was just disappearing. The dragon with wings roared. There was no scratch on him. The girl said, "Be careful," because the dragon attacks with its tail. The leader was wounded by the tail. The whole team was surprised. His skill didn't work. They'll lose without a goal. Oliver was asked if he was okay. The leader asks Luna what they should do, to which the girl replies, "Isn't it the leader who should decide that?" Luna asked to pull herself together. It seems they have no choice. They are going to use the shifting door. Changeable door. Forcefully connects two spaces. Requires a special item to use in the labyrinth, capable of moving the caster to another location. However, the point of movement is a random room with the floor boss. They will be transported to another boss room, but at least they can get away from the black dragon. The leader tells his team everything. As soon as this happens, a space warp will occur. Everyone needs to jump in. The team is ready. This time they lost. They were about to use it, when suddenly it started flapping its wings. The monster cut off their path. The black dragon was not so smart before. The dragon flew straight to the team. They step aside. The dragon passes through them. He anticipates their actions. At this rate, the dragon flies to the door. They didn't understand what was happening. The dragon disappeared. Aniri exhaled as they were saved. The situation couldn't be worse. The black dragon has moved to another boss's room, and now unsuspecting explorers can encounter it. First of all, they must return to the guild and submit a request for forced return. Forced return is a guild card ability. It moves all adventurers from the labyrinth to the outside. They'll get a hefty fine for it. But they're in no position to think about it. The Great Southern Labyrinth. The corridor of the 92nd floor. Luna told Oliver that as for the next steps, they must find and kill the black dragon. But in their current composition, they are not able to do this. So they have to get Orin back and comb through every boss room. They treated him so terribly that it was embarrassing to ask him for help. But they couldn't do it without him. He had to be with the silver rabbits in the maze today. Once everyone was teleported to the surface, she would try to convince him. Derek, however, was against the idea, saying that today was simply not their day. The girl asked if the leader remembered what she had said before the black dragon had appeared, about the decline of their group. It had always been like that. Nothing had changed in them or in her. Luna answered Oliver's question about why his strongest skill didn't work. She answered that Orin wasn't with them. The force was weak, so the flash was useless. She says that now they saw the real power of his skill. To enhance Oliver's defense, Derek's attack, and Aniri's magical power, Orin created his own unique spells. The power of the buff depends on the caster, and the duration of the buff depends on who the effect is applied to. On average, the effect lasts 3 minutes. After this time, the caster must simply refresh the buffs. The guys discuss during their escape, the buff can't last for 2 minutes because all the party members have magic resistance that's an order of magnitude higher than normal. Especially Oliver. The buff barely lasts a minute, says Philia. Philia's skills themselves are better, Luna agrees. However, this is on the condition that Orin uses the same principle of strengthening as everyone else. But it's not that simple. Orin understood perfectly well that his skills were inferior to those of other healers. Therefore, in order not to be inferior to them and to compensate for this deficiency, he developed several unique spells. Oliver says that it was because of these spells that he was no match for other healers. Luna says that he is wrong. The hero surpassed them. Thanks to his new skills, he managed to increase the enhancement effect by 50 times. The leader was surprised. Philia says it's impossible. They say even Selma, who is called the strongest healer on the continent, can barely apply a tenfold boost. Luna says she may not believe it, but it's true. The effect doesn't last even a second, but Oren has successfully used these buffs in real combat. It was thanks to Oren's spells that this group was able to achieve such success. Oliver and Aneri's success was due to Oren's unique spell. Oliver, combined with Oren's support magic, significantly reduced the time it took to activate the powers. Luna thinks that if they manage their time correctly, they can tear off the Black Dragon's wing. Aneri mistook Oren's support magic for her own power. No matter how hard she and Oren tried, they couldn't hear the dragon. Lately, she could only use mid-level magic that was easy to activate. She probably wouldn't be able to use high-level magic anymore, which required more time and concentration. Their group was already at level 86 when she first joined, and yet Oren tried to persuade you to go through the intermediate level, but she refused, only because it was too much trouble. He also strengthened Derek's attack. Moreover, when the buff time expires, even despite the multiple strengthening of equipment and magic by a spell, there is no feeling of heaviness in the body. Now they understood why Luna was categorically against Oren's exclusion. Entrance to the Great Southern Labyrinth. People are discussing the team of heroes running past, saying that they only heard this morning that they were heading into the depths of the dungeon with a new healer and were already returning. They discuss the new healer, praising her and the team. The team of heroes is the hope of all explorers, they say. The team, hearing how people admire them, sadly continued on their way. Oliver wondered if they could be called heroes. Because of them, all the explorers of this labyrinth are now in danger. They have no right to call themselves heroes after they let the Black Dragon escape without a scratch. They can't cope without Oren. A few hours before, the entrance to the Great Southern Labyrinth. Oren has a bad feeling about this. The Great Southern Labyrinth, level 36. The last day of exploration. Today they will have to go through levels 36 through 50. Having reached 51, they will return back with the help of the transition crystal. As before, the difficult magic for beginners and the boss fight are the leader's responsibility. It won't take long, but something is bothering the hero. The atmosphere in the labyrinth today is very oppressive. Logan looked at the hero, and the hero thinks that maybe it is because of the boy's gaze. Oren wants to give Caroline advice for the future. Yesterday's battle, she tried to kill the enemy herself. Well, that's not the role of a defender. She only needs to attract the enemy's attention and leave the rest to her allies. The girl says, but then it will be hard for others, so she always goes to fight on the front lines. Caroline asks if there are any techniques to make it easier to fight solo. The hero replies that always relying on oneself is not an option. From now on, he will try to work together with the team. He heard from Selma that even Albert, who was the ace of the Silver Rabbit, relied on his allies. Albert Sensible, the strongest of the Silver Rabbits. He died last year in a battle with the level 92 boss, the Black Dragon. According to Selma, his absence weakened the team significantly. Because of this, they had to give up their leadership position to a group of heroes. The Black Dragon is dangerous even for heroes. In the worst case, someone can die fighting it, like Albert, but he died covering for his partner who was supposed to protect him. After his death, the partners only became less cheerful. Nothing else changed. That's why the girl doesn't see the need to keep anyone by her side. If she's the only one fighting on the front lines, the others will be safe, according to Caroline. Oren understood her and has nothing more to say to her, and tells her to do everything in her power. Sophia wants to ask Oren something. She asked what skills she lacked, what she should do to become stronger. Sometimes she overdoes it with the power of the magic she uses, and he tries to answer in a way that doesn't hurt her feelings. The hero replies that he first wants to know how she understands magic and asks her to explain. The girl answers, first of all, the power that allows you to control the air and cause various reactions when interacting with the outside world is called magic. Initially, only demonic beasts possessed magic, so magical techniques were developed against them. In general, the answer is correct. To be more precise, technique is the process of turning magical power into a phenomenon. In other words, magical technique and magic are the same thing. But some people are more likely to be confused by this, and asks, what about activating magic? There are two stages to activating magic: technique construction and magic power inflow. The first technique is to derive a magic spell by changing the power and range of action from the basic formula of magic techniques. And the second involves releasing the constructed technique outward. He praises her, and the girl thanks him. In this case, he will teach her a higher level technique, Labyrinth, level 40. Parallel unification. It is similar to making sentences from words. That is, it simultaneously combines several techniques. This is necessary for advanced magicians. Explains the hero. It sounds complicated for the girl, she is not sure. If you try, anyone can repeat it. Logan used a similar technique before, the hero says. Some people can combine up to 10 techniques at once. The girl asks why the title of Parallel Union is so important. There are 4 types of magic: basic, intermediate, advanced, special, although special level magic is used at high levels. But even at low levels, there are many demons that cannot be killed using only one technique. Even if you repeat the technique, it takes time to activate it. At this moment, the magician is most vulnerable. When the construction of one magic technique is half completed, the construction of another begins at the same time. In this way, it manages magic more effectively. Sophia understood and asked, "But were low-level demons really that strong?" He replied that it would just be difficult to defeat them using only one technique. And you can also fight with your team using mid-level magic with a small attack scale. The effectiveness of the magic depends on how she uses it. Then she will do everything possible to learn this technique. Soon she will be able to fight at the intermediate level. It would be a good idea to ask the seniors of the Silver Rabbit to help her with training. Guy, we think Selma will gladly take on this task. Sophia agrees and says that Oren would be more suitable for the role of teacher. He asks, he. She answers yes or he is against. The guy says he can teach her and hopes Selma will allow it. The girl happily asks, is it true? Sophia says her sister is always kind to her, so everything is fine and thanks him. Some time later, they are in the boss's territory. Level 40. Boss territory. Newbies are safe. Then they can start at any time. This is their first battle together. They are going to act according to their roles. This time, Oren's support will do everything in his power. And he says that they will cope in a matter of seconds. Sophia sees the leaders fighting shoulder to shoulder for the first time. Amazing strength. Their fights with enemies are completely different. 2 defenders distract the boss, Oren does his part in the rear, 3 attack the lower extremities, while Selma and Katie attack the upper body with magic. Perfect for the first battle. Everyone performed their duties to the best of their ability. This is a special level of power. They finished quickly. Sophia also wants to be like them. The 10th group enthusiastically approached Oren, praising him. Ansem says he can't believe it, just like Oren said, they finished quickly. Both leaders thought about it, but how? His sword skill level was barely a rank. They think maybe the boss was not strong this time, that's why they defeated him so quickly. Handsome didn't understand why this monster was acting strangely, as if someone was controlling it. The interlocutor asks if he thinks this is Oren's doing. If you think about it, during the battle, before the monster wanted to strike, he foresaw this, hit the vulnerable points, thereby preventing the attack. Although the hero has not taken up a sword for several years, he has a very developed intuition. It's hard to believe, but yesterday Oren said that he was trying to conquer the deepest part of the labyrinth alone. That's why he was so serious. After listening, Ansem became inspired. He thinks the hero will make every effort for what he wants. The leaders believe in Oren that he will succeed. Boss of level 50. Crab. After finishing this monster, they will complete the mission. Oren cuts off his left claw and asks to cover him. Instant hyper ability boost. It's time to use his original magic. The leaders are surprised by the boy's strength. He cut off the claw with just one blow. Activation takes less than a second. A technique that increases equipment and magic power by 100 times. A unique magic developed by Oren himself. It is a kind of cheat that he accidentally discovered. This technique often saved him at high levels. All that remains is to break the shell. Everyone attacked. Then things started moving. In less than 5 minutes, the boss was killed. Thus, the capture of the 50th level was completed. The hero's mission ends here. He had fun with this group. It's good that everything went without incident. He's glad. Suddenly, a black dragon appears behind Sophia. The girl screamed. Thus, Oren's anxiety took a turn for the worst. Having conquered the 50th level boss, all the explorers were satisfied. But suddenly the space distorted and he appeared. Due to a mistake by the group of heroes, this creature was moved here, because it could not possibly be on this floor. A tyrant who takes the lives of explorers of the deep in the blink of an eye. His name is the Black Dragon. Everyone is surprised and afraid of this aura. Selma wonders why he is here. The girl wanted to give an order, but she can't move. Her body doesn't obey, not just hers. Everyone is scared. Suddenly, Oren shouted to the leaders that the newcomers needed to be protected. Oren is the only one who remains sane. Probably because it's not his first time. Selma yelled at Katie to create a barrier. The leaders will try. Selma also ordered Ansem and Bernard to take up a defensive position. They are counting on them to repel the dragon's attack. However, the two leaders who stood up for defense received magical support, standing in front of the direction of the fiery whirlwind in their direction, feeling the approach of death. Oren suddenly uses instant mega increase in abilities. Katie's magical barrier sparkles. Oren's unique magic has strengthened the barrier tenfold in a split second. There was an explosion. The leaders coped. Everyone is alive. The hero wondered why a level 94 dragon was here. Besides, there was not much room for the deep monsters to move around. The guy thinks, or the area of their stay has expanded. But even so, for the Black Dragon, it is too much. He cannot be here. The hero wonders what happened. He didn't know how they were going to get out of here alive. The boss crab of this level had already been defeated. Therefore, the 51st level was open, and there was only a little time left until the transition crystal. If they hurried, they might be able to reach him in time. But no one could move. In other words, only Oren could run and save himself now. Since there is a high concentration of magic in the crowd, the Black Dragon will most likely head there. But the guy is not going to run away under any circumstances. He will have to fight the Black Dragon. The hero's task is only to bring these newbies who have become explorers to level 51. But he cannot abandon them. He must save them all. Since many cannot move, the escape option will have to be forgotten. To save everyone, there is no choice but to fight and win. Oren is about to attack. The hero threw the spare sword at the dragon's eye, but it would fly off the eyelid. The guy deliberately waited for the Black Dragon to close its eyes. To attack from the air. Instant hyper increase of abilities. He succeeded. He launched his attack. But the dragon only roared, taking no damage. As expected, he is not so easy to defeat. Oren is fine, and he told Selma and the other leaders that he will do his best to protect the newcomers. He will fight the dragon. There is a chance to win. The newcomers are very scared, and says to stay put. He will definitely protect them. First of all, you need to attract the dragon's attention. The hero succeeded. The dragon noticed him. Just a little bit more, and the dragon will launch its next attack. The boy wonders if he can repel the attack with a simple technique. He tries a reflective barrier. He succeeds. The attack flies back to the dragon. Team 10 was surprised that he managed to do it. Reflective barrier, another of Oren's original techniques which has the effect of reflecting attacks relative to the barrier. The peculiarity of this technique is that attacks are always reflected perpendicular to the barrier. The dragon roars. He is not hurt by this blow. The monster is still safe and sound. Now Oren is serious, strengthening all parameters. There are 6 main types of support magic: defense enhancement, strength enhancement, technique enhancement, survivability enhancement, flexibility enhancement, mana enhancement. The essence of the technique is in building and activating all types at the same time. A very difficult technique that only high-level mages like Philia can handle. She used this technique on Oliver in the last battle. Selma thinks that Oren's support magic power has roughly doubled, which is not enough, and wonders if she should buff him. The guy then used imposition. Selma was surprised by what she heard. 3-fold. 4-fold. Everyone is surprised. And finally, a 5-fold increase in total power. This is the first time Selma has seen this technique have an overlapping effect. This frightening aura, the girl can't even imagine how strong he is now. The hero began to walk towards the dragon. The dragon roared and was about to attack with a swagger, but Oren managed to dodge. He covered such a distance in the blink of an eye. Selma thinks that this is no longer like a normal increase in physical abilities, so what kind of technique was that? Support magic cannot be cast. Even if you use support magic spells continuously, the effect of the previous one will be reset. However, thanks to Oren's original technique, they can be cast on top of each other. This technique is a magic bug. Fivefold overlay means that the same spell increases its effect 5 times. Because Orin can double support magic, with fivefold overlay, it can be increased up to 32 times. But this technique has 2 drawbacks. First, the technique does not buff anyone except Orin. Second, it can only be used in a short-term decisive battle. In addition, Orin simultaneously stacks 30 magic techniques, causing a heavy burden to be exerted on him. The hero thinks that he needs to end this quickly. It happened when Oliver was a child. While they were doing sadhana, bandits robbed and killed everyone. The children promised each other to become stronger. In order not to lose again, he became an explorer who seeks strength and knowledge. And to protect everyone, you just need to destroy the barrier in front of your eyes. There's nothing complicated about it, you just have to defeat the enemy. Selma thinks she can't imagine him trying to defeat the dragon alone. It must be incredibly difficult to construct an overlay effect that initially seemed beyond reality. All Selma can do is protect the newcomers so Orin can focus. But even so, the workload will remain enormous. The dragon attacks. The hero dodged, flying into the air. This is bad. Orin is more vulnerable in the air, it's easy to attack him there. But the guy will not give in at any cost, and makes a square for himself out of thin air. It's an aerial support. Everyone is surprised. Selma has never seen anything like it. This is also Orin's magic. Magic concentration. Only Orin and Oliver can use it. The essence is in collecting and materializing magic. Oliver uses it as an attack, but it has a very wide range of applications. If this magic is released, it can be used to move through the air. Sensitivity boost. Endurance boost. Instant mega ability boost. The hero strikes the monster in the neck. The dragon growled in pain. He was seriously injured. Judging by Orin's expression, Selma thought it was too early to rejoice. The dragon stood menacingly and was not going to lose. There was a sudden explosion. They don't understand what's happening. Orin was able to dodge it. The dragon changed the shape of the smoke coming from the explosion and uses it as a weapon. The black dragon's main attacks are a fireball and a high-speed tail strike. But beyond that, the truly terrifying attack is the purple haze. This smoke can transform into a whip and sometimes into a spear, allowing you to attack the enemy from all sides. There have never been so many attacks in dragon battles before. In other words, the real battle is just beginning. Orin is about to make the monster attack with all his might. A flash of fire. The guy is about to attack the neck again. Instant mega amplification of abilities. The hero is unable to strike. The dragon has an incredibly durable body. The dragon attacks. The attack speed has increased dramatically. The guy won't be able to dodge. We need to prevent the attack. Stone wall. Orin has no choice but to keep his distance. The monster destroyed the stone wall and attacks with its tail. Reflective barrier. An original magic technique that reflects attacks. He managed to reflect the attack. A terrifying battle. Everyone is worried about the hero. Selma thinks that Orin can only dodge now without the ability to attack and does not know what to do. Previously, when the hero fought him, being part of a group of heroes, Derek and Luna controlled the fog, and Oliver and Inari destroyed it with the power of pyro. The hero wonders if he can cope with all these roles alone. Orin screams. He swears that he won't lose without relying on them. He will defeat this dragon himself. The dragon is about to attack. During the attack, the dragon is very vulnerable. The hero waited for the moment and rose to the top. He became a bait and at the same time manages to dodge all attacks. These dodges are akin to the movements of defenders. Even without Derek, you can dodge attacks on your own. And since the attacks miss, there is no point in the heal that Luna was responsible for. Oliver's physical attack is not a problem. However, Aniri's role, which is essentially a magical attack, is difficult. When the guy attacks the dragon, the monster is still unharmed. However, the main goal now is to attract the dragon's attention, not to kill it, and then surround him with magic spells. Up until this point, Orin had never used so many spells at once. He strikes the dragon. The dragon growls in pain. The hero understands that such magic will hardly cause any damage to the monster. That's why he prepared something special. Suddenly, all the magics around the monster attack. Series amplification. The magical attacks became stronger, surprising Selma and the others. This is a special magic formula that is created before the spell. It absorbs magical energy from the air and feeds the spells with it, thus strengthening them. This formula is also an original magic created by Orin. Magic convergence. Incredible magical power covers Oren's blade. This is a far cry from Oliver's golden blade. His sword has turned black, as if it had been saturated with darkness itself. The boy attacks. Celestial flash. Big bang. Everyone watched in amazement. Oren will play the role of each member of the group. This is his idea of the ideal swordsman. He had blood flowing from his eyes. Sky flash. When the sky flash reached the dragon, the hero used instant mega ability boost. At the very least, he should have deprived him of his wings. The attack took a lot of strength. The dragon roared in its entirety. Oren was surprised that the monster was unharmed. After all, the monster could not dodge the flash and, looking at the missing tail, the hero understood, blocked with his tail. The boy began to think what to do next. Oren did not know that before he appeared in front of him, he had seen a similar attack from Oliver. The dragon understood what this attack was capable of, so he covered himself with his tail. The dragon flew above the boy and continued its attacks. Now things are going to get more serious. Magic convergence. The guy flew to attack. As suddenly stopped, the support magic ends. Selma saw this and shouted that she would help him, strengthening his abilities. If he uses other support magic now, he won't be able to activate convergence. Her magic has dissipated. Oren told her that he is fine, to protect the students first. It turns out he doesn't need her help. The girl shouted at him, "Okay, and try. Increase all characteristics." The guy flew to attack the dragon, but he dodged. The hero has no chance in the air. He needs to force the monster to land. That's the only way to win. The guy is going to attack him with sequential enhancement magic, and then sequential enhancement. This skill has clear attack directions. It is difficult to hit a dragon in the air. Therefore, reflective barrier. He will change the direction of the attack. The dragon roared in pain louder than usual. Now he will not escape lightning strike. All the blows go through the dragon. Oren is hurt. He used too much magic, but he will not retreat. The hero is going to use sequential enhancement to strengthen the spell. The dragon received all attacks. Gotcha, the hero thinks. And magical convergence attacks. Heavenly flash, and then instant mega ability boost. There was an explosion, and the monster fell to the ground. Everyone began to rejoice and worry about the hero's condition. However, the dragon was not defeated yet. Everyone is surprised. Sophia thought, it's not surprising that her sister admires Oren, because he is their hero. The hero managed to pin the monster to the ground. The dragon attacks again, strong pressure. Oren says that in that case, we will have to use this. He summons a magic blade. A dark substance appeared next to Oren. Selma doesn't understand what this is, where this pressure is coming from. She can barely hold on. It is a large black blade. It gives off a terrifying aura, as if the sword was made of pure concentrated magic. A spell created by fusing, quote, magic convergence and weapon creation. It condenses magic and forms a weapon. Even without using instant mega ability boost, it surpasses special class magic. The dragon attacks. A monstrous attack. It looks like the monster is also giving it its all. In that case, reflective barrier. He was able to reflect the attack. He made several barriers and moved through them towards the monster. He uses barriers as platforms to attack the dragon from above. Weight gain. The guy screams. He was going straight down to the dragon to attack. Instant mega power boost. Big bang. The others can't see anything. They don't understand if the hero is okay, what's wrong with the dragon. The dragon is defeated. Everyone was surprised. The hero could barely stand on his feet. Sophia was delighted, and everyone ran to Oren. Shouting his name, the hero looked at them in surprise. Guild Council, Day 3. It happened shortly before Oren defeated the dragon. Adventurers Guild. Luna came running to report an urgent message. The girls said that they were from the Golden Dawn and ordered to quickly call the guild leader. Now, the name Hero Association has come up very often, but the official name of the group is Golden Dawn. 9 years ago, Luna, Oren, and Oliver chose this name. Eleanor, the guild employee responsible for the Golden Dawn, ran up to the girl and called them into the conference room. Leon Conti, the guild leader, and the leaders. Luna apologized for such a sudden meeting. They have a favor to ask of them. She asked to bring back all the adventurers from the dungeon. Even if it means using force, we need to get everyone out. Oliver was originally supposed to lead these negotiations. However, you can't squeeze a word out of him. Oren has been handling such matters up until now. Luna has to do something. The leader says that forced return is a spell that requires many people to prepare. Therefore, a very good reason is needed to begin preparation and asks to explain what happened. The girl promises to explain in detail later, but for now she will try to be brief. The reason why she asks for such serious measures is that there is a high probability that the boss of the 92nd floor, the Black Dragon, can move to other floors. The chief was surprised to hear this. The girl continued that the adventurers would not be able to resist him. After the spell, they would begin to hunt this dragon, but before that, she has to use this spell and save people's lives. The leader understood and said that they would decide everything by voting. Raise your hand if you agree to approve this request. Luna is preparing for any decision they make. No one objects to their request. They will fulfill their request. The girl thanked them, but she will have one more request. She asks to teleport all adventurers from the 45th to the 50th floor to the plane near the entrance to the labyrinth. A former member of the group is currently exploring these floors. She would like to join him. The leader agrees. They started using their magical energy. The girl wonders if they explain everything to Oren and apologize, will they be able to get the old team back? Inside the dungeon, everyone moved outside. The transfer has been successfully completed. The leader says to defeat the dragon. They will also provide support to all adventurers who are still confused after the teleportation. Luna tells the team, let's find Oren. Derek asks if they really need this loser, and says that as they discussed earlier, it is unknown if the rumors about his power are true, so they do not need him. Anirecap joins him and says that they failed to deal with the dragon the first time they met because it caught them off guard. Even in this situation, they continue to complain. Luna tells them that at the moment, they are the weakest C-rank group. There is no way they can defeat the Black Dragon. The rest of the team got angry when they heard this. The girl was already tired of telling them that they had achieved such success only thanks to Oren. She pointed her finger and said that especially Derek and Aneri, without Oren's support, they were no stronger than A-rank adventurers. Derek angrily shouted, asking if she meant to say that she was stronger than him. Luna replied that if they fought, she would definitely win. Derek angrily runs up to attack, but he suddenly stops because he can't move. The girl, using magic, says that victory is hers. Oliver says that it had to be proven. First of all, we need to find Oren. Then we can decide what to do. A few minutes later. The plane near the entrance to the dungeon. Everyone crowded and looked at the defeated dragon. Oliver saw the Black Dragon and was going to fight. Luna said, take a closer look. There are a lot of people here. They will come and figure out what's going on. The people made way for the team. The team was surprised by what they saw. The dragon was killed. They saw Oren standing nearby. The moon said his name. The hero turned around. The girl thought that if Oren was here, it meant that the, quote, silver rabbit in the night sky had defeated the dragon. But out of the whole group, only Oren was injured. She didn't understand why. The guy approached her and said that he was leaving the rest to her. He went further. The 10th team followed him, asking questions with admiration. Luna understood that Oren had defeated the dragon, which even they could not overcome, alone. Oliver was furious at what he saw. Oren walked past him. None of the team of heroes could utter a word. Night of the same day. Sophia is sitting and she needs to write a report. There will be so many mentions of Oren, how he trained them and taught her magic, and how he defeated the Black Dragon single-handedly. While they couldn't take a step, Oren protected them. He had such a cool expression on his face during the fight, the girl thinks. Selma came home. She looked very tired. Sophia hadn't seen her sister so tired in a long time. She suggested that they take a bath before bed. Selma had a nice relaxing time in the bath. When you're really tired, a bath will definitely help, says Sophia. Selma thanked her. The girl asked her sister if she had any problems. She answered that during Oren's battle with the Black Dragon, what did she think about? The girl answered that she thought that Oren was incredibly strong. Selma would say even too much. She is more concerned about how the newcomers will accept him. Sophia answered that she need not worry, everyone has become friends with him. Her sister was surprised. She asked for more details. She asked to tell what Sophia had learned while watching Oren's battle. The girl asked her sister to calm down. Sophia recognized how he fought. His movements were incredible. He also used magic that she had never seen before. Otherwise, it was a normal fight. Oren used everything he had explained in training. Selma says it felt like he was fighting for everyone in the group. Sophia says she will try even harder to become a strong adventurer like Oren. Her sister praised her. In her report, she plans to thank Oren well for saving her. She realized that they have completely different views on the world. She wants to become stronger so she can stand shoulder to shoulder with him. She ran away from the manor, so she had no choice but to become an adventurer. Her goal is too far away. Sophia hugged her sister, saying that she had always admired her. She had achieved everything on her own, and many people relied on her. Plus, she had shown her that it wasn't always necessary to obey the will of her parents. She always took care of her and thanked her for it. If Sophia can help her with anything, she asks to be sure to tell her. Selma thanks her sister and hugs her back. They are about to leave the bath. Selma says she has a favor to ask. They hadn't slept together for a long time. Morning. Oren is in a lot of pain. His whole body hurts after yesterday's fight. Fortunately, even after using, quote, pain reduction, there will be no serious consequences. You can say that he is incredibly lucky. Yesterday, he was able to return home alone. It was a pity to leave the guys from the guild, but at that moment he was completely exhausted. Later, he will contact the guys from the team. The hero hopes that they will explain to him where the monster came from and what they did with its remains. Adventurers Guild. The leader is glad that Oren came. The chief apologized for being so sudden and asked if he could tell them what happened yesterday. The hero doesn't mind, but first he wants an explanation for something. He asks what happened to the dragon. All he can tell is information about the battle itself. The leader asks Luna to repeat the story. What Luna said was just terrible. At that moment, Oren was just furious. After the teleportation, although the dragon's body caused some confusion, thanks to the help from the guild, they were able to deal with it. The leader asks if he really dealt with the monster alone. Oren said yes. He would report the details of the battle with the dragon in the form of a dungeon exploration report. The final grade would be 2 points. Derek asked again, did he fight alone? Derek says that thanks to them, the dragon was quite exhausted and injured, to be grateful that they saved his life. Oren says not to interfere with the report. Derek and Aniris started yelling at the hero. The guy asked the chief if he could, and he allowed it. His patience snapped. To put it mildly, he was confused. Oren tells Oliver that he understands everything, but how could they go so deep when they just had a new wizard on their team? He asks why they ignored Luna, who probably objected. Did they think they could handle it since they had been to this floor many times before? Oliver remained silent. The hero had hit the nail on the head. He had already said that they were very lucky to have made it past these floors. He had warned that with their current strength, they would not be able to go any further. Even then, they had always been in a situation where one wrong step would be the end. Oliver replied that that was why they had decided to banish him. He thought that if they could find someone who had a better magic than the hero, they would be able to go deeper. Oren understood. Oren is angry at Oliver because he treats support mages with disdain. The leader says that's not true. He replaced the hero because it was necessary. Oren screamed that Oliver is a terrible leader and now his group deserves no higher than B rank. Oliver shouted that support mages just buff the team. The rest of the time they sit in a safe place and that anyone can learn magic. Oren asked if he was serious. The leader replied that it didn't matter. It was true. Oren stood up from his seat and said, Oliver, 61 seconds. Aniri, 134 seconds. Derek, 186 seconds. Luna, 140 seconds. That's how long their buffs will last. On average, mages use 3 buffs per ally. Each spell has a different activation time. In addition, mages observe the situation as a whole and give instructions. And asks if Oliver can handle it. He replied that he would learn and get used to it. He was already experienced, but what about a newbie? The duration of the boost depends on the target, and it is difficult to calculate. If they run out of boosts, they can die. The hero constantly has to keep a lot of information in his head, because their life depends on it. Oren asked if it was easy for Oliver. The hero said that they were lucky to have returned alive, all thanks to the sorceress. They should be grateful to her. They fell silent. Oren apologized to the chief and continued his report. The leader says the report is short but perfect. From the reports of other researchers, they understand how they fought. In his, the information is well hidden. There is no need to report tactics or unique spells. They are done with that. But at the end, the leader wants to hear about Oren's plans for the future. Oren is not against it, but he asks the reason. In light of recent events, I would like to know about his future plans. Oren has no plans yet. He will simply continue to work as an adventurer. The leader asked if he had heard that the great labyrinth in the Sauber Empire had been conquered. The hero replied yes, and why did they ask such a question? They were now in the kingdom of Natan. About 3 months ago, the labyrinth was conquered. Even the monsters stopped appearing. The explorers who were in the empire went to the dungeons in other cities. Taking advantage of the opportunity, they decided to monitor the creation and dissolution of groups, and asks to report if he still joins somewhere. That's all. As Oren left, he felt a gloomy atmosphere. They would probably talk about punishment for using forced teleportation. Oren walked out with a smile and thought, hold on guys, he'll walk better. Selma came to Oren unannounced and asked about his health. Everything was fine, he replied. He hadn't expected Selma to come straight to the inn, and was glad she had returned from the guild so quickly. She came to talk about the reward, but before that she thanked him with a bowed head. Thanks to Oren, they finished the search without missing anything. The guy says, no need, raise your head. The girl said it was necessary. He had saved the lives of many newcomers from her clan. She was truly grateful to him. The boy also thanked her, and since she said so, he was glad. They are going to go to the guild headquarters. Their leader also wants to meet him. Headquarters. The guild leader also bowed his head and thanked the hero for saving his subordinates. They began to praise the boy for his heroic deed. As a reward, they gave him platinum coins. There are 10 gold coins in 1 platinum coin. He gives him 10 platinum coins, which means 100 gold coins. Vince says that this is even too little, so do not refuse. When the hero was about to leave, the leader stopped him because he wants to discuss something. Vince asked if Oren would like to join their guild. He's going to put him in the first squad, Selma's group, the strongest in the guild. He'd like the hero to be in the vanguard. And if Oren wants, the head will even give him a place as one of the leaders. The guy doesn't think it's a good idea, since he's young and inexperienced. Each leader is selected for the corresponding department, they explained to him. He is praised and said to be worthy of becoming a leader. At the moment, Selma is the only leader. If he joins the clan and helps her, she will be very happy. In other words, he will replace Albert. The guy can't say that he's not happy about it, but it means he'll have friends again. The chief gives him time to think it over. Oren thanks the chief and leaves. Grandpa laughed after listening to the guy. The hero thought a lot about the offer, and before he realized it, he somehow ended up in Grandpa's shop. Grandpa asks if the boy is afraid of being used and abandoned again. Oren confirms. He thought that it was better for him to be alone from now on, but those 3 days he spent with them were filled with joy. Grandfather believes that their entire society is built on mutually beneficial relationships. A person cannot live alone. Each of us needs a person. Grandpa gives their relationship as an example. Oren uses Grandpa to get what he wants, and Grandpa makes money off of him. Grandpa asks if he thinks only a hero can offer them anything. Doesn't the clan have anything to offer him? If he joins the clan, he can rely on them. They will all work together to conquer the labyrinth. They will give him the support he needs, and they will not kick him out just like that, no matter how hard he tries. Oren thanks his grandfather. Grandpa doesn't want the hero to regret it later. It's better to try than to regret a missed opportunity for the rest of his life. Grandpa himself regrets a lot. The hero thanks him again. Grandfather always supports the boy, but Oren still can't make a decision. Because he's afraid he'll regret it in the future. He's not sure. Oren was looking at the moon and someone came up to him. This is Sophia. The girl warned her sister, and they are not that far from the headquarters. She asks why he is here. The guy answers that he needed to think a little. That's why he was looking for a suitable place. He asked her the same question. She replied that this was her favorite place. No matter what happened to her, she came here and looked at the sky. She remembered what she wanted to say on the spot. She bowed before the guy and thanked him. He replied that anyone in his place would have done the same. The girl confidently said that he had saved her twice, that ordinary gratitude was not enough, and that if he needed anything, he should contact her. She would do everything possible. Oren agreed that when the time came, he would rely on her. He asked if the girl liked the moon. Sophia answered, "Probably yes." She often looked at the moon when she was little. When she looked at it, she felt a surge of strength. The girl asks if he knows the meaning of the guild name. The moon is also called a beacon in the night. Their guild aims to be a beacon for all explorers. That's the meaning of their guild. The boy feels like he's heard something like this before. When Sophia joined the guild, the whole world changed for her. She doesn't know what the future holds, but she's sure that their guild will achieve a lot, no matter what gets in their way. Oren doesn't think that's an exaggeration. There are a lot of people in their guild, and each of them has their own opinions, their own views, her own ideas, come into contact with the ideas of a bunch of different people. As a result, it seems to her that the whole world has changed. Her world changed because she met the guys. He asked her what the guild meant to her. She said it was a place that opened many roads for her, a place where she could smile, a place she can return to. That's how she describes the guild. The guy was satisfied with this answer. He thanked her and was glad that he met her today. The girl asked the reason for such a question. He replied that maybe he would become part of their guild and asked if she didn't know. Oren offers to take the girl to headquarters. He has business there. They went to headquarters together. The hero came to the chief and agreed. He bowed and said that he relied on him and asked to be accepted. Oren wanted to join the guild Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky. He was accepted. Whatever choice he made, he might regret it one day anyway. The main thing is that he feels good now. Whatever future awaits him ahead, he chose it. Selma congratulated the guy on joining and brought his uniform. The girl asked what was wrong, what he didn't like. It wasn't that, just the size. If it's just the size, then no problem, she said, and snapped her fingers. Using magic, she changed the size. This is their secret guild technology. He will learn a lot more about them, including useless information. The hero thanked and smiled, saying that he is happy to work with all of them. 2 days after Oren visited the guild, Leon apologized to the Grand Master for his sudden visit. Explorers Guild. Continental South Headquarters. Leader. Leon Conti reports that it happened 3 days ago. An explorer appeared in their ranks who single-handedly defeated the boss of a deep floor. The master was surprised by what he heard. Leon tells the approximate details of the fight. The master asked if Oliver from the hero squad defeated the dragon. He was told no. The master wonders, then, who else? The master asks if it is Orndula. Leon confirms and asks if he knows him. The master continues to ponder how he did it. How is he really that strong? At the time of defeating the Black Dragon, he was not a member of the guild. He is informed. The master became very curious and thanked for the information. He ordered that everything connected with him be reported in the future. Leon left the office. The master said that if things continued like this, Orn would become his savior. He says that when the day comes, they will leave what was between them in the past. And he says to continue his dance to the hero. Thanks to the hero, his goals can be fulfilled. At the same time, the Great Forest, the 95th floor, the Great Eastern Labyrinth. The team ends here. They had to sweat. Agnes Otula, the Angard, says, the conspiracy of the 5 strongest groups did not take long to come. Gibeah Rachel, the defender, answered, yes, but there is no result. Zuriel Houghton, support, is glad that at least there is no damage, and asks what will be done next. Xian replies that he doesn't think that influential researchers will leave the city for a while. It's okay to leave for a while. They agree, then it's better to keep a low profile for now and wait for the next order. But the guy, hiding behind a tree, overheard them. The guy came out screaming how they could mercilessly kill all his comrades. Xian asks if they do the same with monsters, and calls his comrades weak, and says that it would be better if they stopped climbing into the labyrinth. The guy threatens them that he will finish them all off. The smell gives Gibeah a bad feeling. The guy drinks something and gets bigger and stronger. His entire body is covered in some kind of magical barrier, some kind of proprietary drug. It's too well made, probably a cult had a hand in it, Xian says. The guy attacks. Xian creates her weapon. Xian, the universal nasturtium, apologizes and says that she has a short conversation with those who do not want to listen. The guy stood still. The blanket covered him and froze him. He didn't understand what was wrong with him. Xian looked at him. That's it. The team started praising Xian. Xian says that now they can talk calmly and they can go out. Xian heard his rustling. Messenger. He came from headquarters. A researcher has appeared who has single-handedly defeated a black dragon in the south. A dragon slayer. If you come into contact with him and find him dangerous, eliminate him, he says. According to the headquarters, there is a high probability that he is somehow connected to the cult. The girl said that there is not much information and thanked for the message. The messenger deviates and disappears. Here is the next task. They leave as soon as they are ready. She leaves the information gathering to them. As always, the labyrinth will be their base. They will have to go deeper. This time, they will build a strategy. Until they fight the hero, they will not know how strong he is. But he is clearly not that simple. Since he was able to defeat the Black Dragon alone, Shion thinks. She didn't want to get involved with that place. She couldn't handle it alone. If it was that bad, the South, like the West, could fall quickly. She had to stop it. The day he died, she took over his will. She swore she would finish what she started. Orn is her favorite person. Her feelings will not change no matter what, and she will never forget that day either. The girl apologized that they couldn't fight together, but she wouldn't give up. She would continue to fight even alone. She would crush anyone who dared to stand in her way and avenge Orn. In the meantime, she needed to find the, quote, Dragon Slayer. If he was somehow connected to the cult, he was an enemy. She would eliminate him. The headquarters of the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky. Selma, Sophia, and Orn were having lunch. The guy thanked them for showing him the dorm. They still have a lot of things they haven't shown him yet, but they offer him a rest. The hero thanked them again, and they have delicious food here. Selma is glad that he liked it. The menu is carefully thought out. Here is everything you need for proper and balanced nutrition. The guy feels out of place, as it is busy and everyone is looking at him. He thinks that this whole Black Dragon thing will quickly die down. Suddenly, a guy comes up and says hello to him. This guy is from the first squad. He says, see you at the meeting. Orn knows all the members of the first squad he joined. But still, he hasn't interacted with many of them, so he's a little nervous. He heard that the hero was now a star, but he was still a member of their guild. Silver Rabbit and Night Sky meeting room. They begin their regular meeting. As soon as Orn joined the guild, a meeting was called, with all the leaders present. First, the leader introduced everyone to the newcomer, Orn Dula. The leader began to tell how Orn joined their group and praised the guy. The hero has proven his willingness to fight for his comrades. He will take Albert's place. But to officially appoint him to this position, 2 or 3 votes are needed. The final decision will be made today. As the leader began, someone interrupted him. One of them wanted to ask a couple of questions before the vote. He greeted the guy and asked if he wanted to be in their guild. If he takes the place of the leader, the lives of the people in his group will depend on his decisions and actions. The hero understands this perfectly well, but their opinions differ. He wants to hear from him, I will fight and die for your guild. But Orn cannot say this. That day he swore that he would always speak as he truly believed. He said that he was not going to dedicate himself entirely to the guild. He was asked if he was not willing to do everything for the guild, then why was he here? Orn replied that since he had joined, he was determined that, as a member of the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky Guild, he would do his utmost to protect his comrades. It's very bad when you have nothing to lose. He must become stronger so as not to lose what is dear again. This is the oath he took when he became an explorer. So the dear thing he will protect is not the guild, but the comrades from his squad. No matter how hard it is for him, he will protect his squad members. This is his answer. They went to the vote. Those who agree, raise your hand, said the leader. Everyone who was at the meeting then raised their hand. Thus he took the position of leader of the guild. Then they started telling everything. Research trends, the activities of individual industries and funding flows, the status of the development of new magic equipment, and a bunch of other things. Thanks to the meeting, he was able to understand the approximate situation in the guild. It was a useful meeting. As he and Selma walked toward the first squad, they were stopped by Estella, researcher management. She wanted to talk to the new leader. She apologized for tearing him away and called him the Genius of Dawn. Dawn is from the full name of the hero group, Golden Dawn. They are called that because they are the group that was able to reach the deepest floor of the Southern Great Labyrinth. She wanted to ask him to teach a group of newcomers. Selma also asks him. He would have plenty of free time. Exploring the labyrinth for more than 4 days in a row was forbidden in their guild. Then he could teach newcomers in his free time. He agreed. She said goodbye to him, saying that she would give him all the necessary material by the end of the day. The guy asked Selma why everyone already knows everything. The girl answered that she would tell him later. The hero is impressed. There are not only books about the labyrinth, but also a lot of other useful books. This library contains all the information that the guild managed to collect. Any member of the guild has access to it. They reach the room of the first squad. 2 girls, one with dark hair and one with light hair, and a guy. They greeted the newcomer joyfully. This isn't the first time they've met him. Last month, they met on the day he fought the Black Dragon. It was a joint raid by 3 C-rank groups. Orn had already felt how close-knit a group they were. The first to introduce herself was the oldest, Rain Hagwell, 24, a mage. The guy thought she looked very young, even too young. By the way, even the robe doesn't fit her, the guy notes. She used a lot of high-level magic in the raid. She's one of those who prefers quality over quantity. Next up, Lucretia Otis. Her specialty is a healer. She says her name is just Lucre. She seems to be about the same age as him, always the cheerful ray of light of the first squad. She was also a mage on the raid. Back then, she used mostly advanced magic. She introduces further the chatterbox Will. He says don't introduce him like that. His name is Wilkes Severnley, 20, a defender. Though he's been playing a lot of attack in the Vanguard lately. He says his name is just Will. The hero had met him before in the canteen. He seemed caring and reliable. In this squad, he played the role of the deceased Albert. Now the hero will take on the role of the attacker. He will give it his all. Selma also decided to introduce herself, Selma Claudel, a sorcerer and the leader of this group. Selma is the best sorcerer on the continent. A master of expert magic with the highest magic activation speed and power. These 4 are Orn's new comrades. Orn also introduced himself. Orn Dula, 18 years old. His role is attacking in the Vanguard. Selma said that there is no need to strain too much about politeness, it is easier without it. Wilkes asked the hero how he was able to defeat the Black Dragon alone. The guy thinks that the main reason for his victory is his 2 unique spells and tells this to his group. The first is instant ability boost. The team is surprised. Selma has no idea how such an effect can be achieved. He hadn't come up with a name for the second one yet. It's a magic that allows you to improve your abilities better than regular magic, but the boost increases gradually. It boosted it 32 times. The team was surprised again. There are 2 downsides to these abilities. First, this ability only works on him, and second, using this spell requires a huge amount of mana. The fight with the Black Dragon then dragged on, and he clearly felt the strain of the spell. Selma called the guy an amazing magician. Rain asked if he could take on other roles. He said he could do anything, but only at B or A rank. She asked why Vanguard. He could use powerful spells. The hero answered because he can't use advanced magic and above. He has never succeeded. And he doesn't know the reason either. Rain says he can definitely master it, he just needs a training partner and she can help, anytime. He smiles and thanks her. Lucre asked if he had a skill. He replied that he could compress the magic around him into one point. He could make platforms out of it in the air. And when it dissipates sharply, it can create an explosion, thus being able to attack. Or it can be used for other magic. Will doesn't have a special ability, but Selma and Lucre do. Lucre's ability is called Magic Power Tracking. She can see traces of magic. She understands where magic was used and where the mage went next. And Selma's ability is called Emotional Resonance. She sees lines that connect members of a group who trust each other. With their help, they can communicate with each other using the power of thought. This ability only transmits the thoughts they want to transmit, within a radius of several kilometers from it. The hero said that the ability was wonderful. The girl thanked him. They are done for today. The leader suggests that tomorrow they work on coherence. In the labyrinth, they will go to the lower floors. As always, they will gather here at 9 in the morning. They also decided to have a welcome dinner for Orn. The hero asks if he can join them later, as he needs to go shopping for a new sword. Luckily, he has one left. But he needs a few, just in case. The team was surprised that the hero does not use weapons on order, but simply buys them. The guy says that he can get used to it or fix it himself if the purchased sword is unusual. Rain said that he shouldn't use second-rate equipment and grabs the guy's hand and leads him somewhere. She quickly dragged him away. The girl brought the guy and opened the door and said, "Alan, please make him a sword." Blacksmith, Alan. He asked what had happened, and the entire first squad came to him in full force. The blacksmith asked if it would fit. Didn't Orn have his own blacksmith? The girl replied that he had never used a custom weapon. Alan was very surprised. Alan asked how you were going to effectively wield a weapon that didn't fit your hand properly. The guy said he never really cared about guns, but he got yelled at and his opinion changed. The girl apologized. Now that he has joined the guild and is a full member of the first squad, he must use a good weapon, or he might let the guys down. Alan agreed to forge a sword for him with great pleasure. If you make him a good sword, you need to make it from high-quality materials from the deep floors of the labyrinth. But now he has a problem with materials. There are almost none. Therefore, guys, you will have to go down to the deep floors and get materials. The hero says that it is not a problem at all. He has a lot of materials from the deep floors. Everyone is surprised. There were a lot of materials. He had collected them when he was in the heroes group, but he never used them. The rest of the heroes group made magical tools out of them and sold them somewhere. Alan asked if the hero was sure he could use it. Orn replied that he was sure it would make a fine weapon in his hands. Luke Gray noticed something black among the materials. This is the scale of the black dragon he defeated. Everyone is very tense. In the battle, the guys from the first squad lost their comrade. For them, this is clearly an unpleasant memory. Orn thought maybe he shouldn't have taken out the scales. But Rain looked at him, understood what the hero was feeling, and smiled and said, "The sword will probably be awesome." The hero has a special storage. When he was in the heroes group, he kept all the materials he collected. The guy asked a familiar craftsman to create a magical storage for him, the capacity of which is several times higher. This is the legendary craftsman Coverdale Evans, with whom the hero cannot introduce his team. Such were the conditions. The main material for the sword will be black dragon scales. And the welcome party is postponed. Orn apologized, he was told. No need to apologize. They themselves are eager to see the sword that Alan will forge. The hero thanked his team and they left. The guy told Alan everything about his perfect sword. Alan periodically made irritated noises. He listened to all his stupid wishes, for which the hero is grateful. Orn provided him with all the necessary materials, and now he was holding the sword forged by Alan. He really had become a researcher for the Silver Rabbit and the Night Sky Guild, the hero thought. Now he doesn't have to worry about the sword. He's going to get ready for tomorrow and go to bed. He has something in his mailbox. Estella said something like that. Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky profiles of the new recruits of the 10th Squad. The hero was glad that it was them. As the boy watched them from the side, he realized that all three of them had something heavy on their minds, but they couldn't do anything. But now it's different. This time he's going to do it right. There was another message from Estella. The girl asked for feedback after she reads everything. The second part is a short history of each member of the group. The third part is a profile of each, a short biography of the group. This is about Logan. Born in November of the year 614 in the village of Iral, in the southern part of the kingdom of Nohitanto. From childhood, his talent for magic was outstanding. At the age of 12, with the support of the villagers, he went to Sutral alone to become an explorer. Logan has a home whose residents support him, which puts a lot of pressure on him. Although they write about innate talent here, without titanic work, talent is useless. There is nothing depressing in the documents about Logan. Next, Sophia. She was born in December of the year 614 in the kingdom of Nohitanto in the city of Dalawan. Due to the death of her mother, a servant, in childbirth, she was taken into the Claudel family. There she was often abused by Madame Claudel. When she turned 10, she entered a school for aristocrats. Her half-sister Selma, with whom they had good relations, had already finished her studies by that time. And since Selma had to leave her home, Sophia began to be humiliated by Madame Claudel. When Selma found out about this, she decided to take Sophia into the clan. After that, Sophia herself expressed a desire to become a researcher. Luckily, the problem is over. Selma protected Sophia. The guy also wants the best for Sophia, so he will support her. And the last one is Caroline. Born in March of 615, place of birth unknown, has the ability of self-healing, was imprisoned by the Tsukuramen order for several years. The Tsukuramen order is a horrible demonic cult from legends. They worshipped an evil god, and their goal was to resurrect this same evil god, one of the largest evil orders. In September of 627, the clan was tasked with clearing out one of the Tsukuramen order's bases. They found Caroline in a dungeon. Albert from the first squad was the one who rescued her. Judging by her condition at the time of her rescue, she had been treated inhumanely all this time. After the rescue, her mental state was unstable, she still hasn't fully recovered, and they continue to treat her. Caroline, no one can imagine the horrors she had to go through, but the wound in her heart will not go away. Not only the hard days in the cult affected her, the death of Albert, who saved her, must have hit her too. Behind her carefree smile, there was such a dark past. Orn has figured out the past of these three. From now on, he will train them and will look after their condition. He's going to give it his all to avoid becoming useless again. Tomorrow, he's going to wake up early and study the library materials in the morning. The next day, Orn, as he said, was sitting in the library and reading, and Luke rejoined him. She saw a large number of books and asked if he would read them all. The guy answered that he had already read these. The girl was surprised. He had slept well and had been sitting here since 7 in the morning. He could read quickly. He used magic to put the book down. The girl was surprised. Only light objects can float, he explained. Rain joined them, but when she saw the flying book, she became scared and thought it was a ghost. Lucre decided to pretend that these were real ghosts and hid behind Rain. Rain, all afraid, uses a magic circle, an attack spell. The guy apologizes and admits that it was him and not a ghost. At that moment, Orn realized that Rain is indeed a powerful mage. The two girls were excited that their squad would finally have a chance to prove its strength. Selma entered the room, greeting everyone with a good morning. The black-haired girl was glad to see her and noted that she had arrived just in time. Selma explained that she had to stop by the research department about their upcoming expedition. Since they were now going to work as a team, a briefing was needed. Selma announced to the boys that today they would have to stop working and training as a team with Orion, so she decided to take on tasks related to collecting materials from monsters. This time, they were going down to the 86th floor to get some poisonous sheep wool. Lucas noted that one briefing probably wouldn't be enough. Rain asked what exactly they were hunting. The poison sheep is a monster covered in thick wool that protects it from blows and is able to inhale black smoke that instantly paralyzes the body of the smoke inhaler. Wool is used to make the uniforms of the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky researchers. This material is durable and elastic, which is why it is very popular. Selma suggested discussing the distribution of roles in the group, starting with magical support. She decided that she would mostly handle the support magic herself. She also noted that Orion had strong buffs and special support magic, but she wanted him to focus on combat. Orn agreed. The main one has determined that Orn and Reyna will play the main attacking role. With one buffer, it is safe to say that her workload has noticeably decreased. Selma decided to focus on defensive buffs for the group and stick to that strategy. Will was given the role of bait for monsters. She gave healing magic to Lucra, emphasizing that if healing is not needed, she should support. Attackers. Will was given the role of bait for monsters. Selma had been to the 86th floor several times before, but that was no reason to relax. After all, this was their first trip together, and she wanted to give it her all. Orion only hummed in agreement. This was his first time as a swordsman, and he had to get used to the monster's movements, so he decided to maintain maximum concentration. Besides, this was his first time exploring the labyrinth in the role he had chosen and aspired to. He didn't want to let down the people who had accepted him into their team, and he was going to give it his all. As Selma's team headed toward the southern entrance to the Great Labyrinth, people standing nearby whispered among themselves, glancing at Orion. Some said he had killed a dragon, others that he was one of the rabbits. Lucra happily said that Orion was popular among them. People continued to whisper, wondering why he joined the rabbits, and that it would be better if he joined the heroes group. Orion himself was unhappy with how quickly information about him was spreading, while Lucre, ignoring his reaction, called him a, quote, star. As the party continued on their way, Orion thought to himself, with the Silver Rabbits, he could quickly catch up with the heroes' team. No one knew yet that that group had failed. The aristocrats who sponsored it had carefully hidden this information from the public.
Orion was going to be hot on the heels
Of the heroes group, and his goal was to go down to the 94th floor with the current team. When they finally reached the 86th floor of the labyrinth, Lucre looked at the surrounding landscape with admiration, despite the fact that it was located deep underground. Over 70% of the labyrinth's floors were forests and plains. The middle levels resembled caves, while on the lower floors, wide, open spaces were commonplace. Reyna remembered the first time she had come here, and she had been delighted then, too. Lucre smiled back, agreeing, and then something was flying towards them at the speed of light. Lucre screamed, saying that they were being attacked with magic from behind. Selma gave a signal to Will, and he instantly rushed forward. He rushed straight towards the magical attack, holding a sharp twin blade in his hands. When Orion saw the twin blade, he was surprised. Such weapons were rare and difficult to handle, and were hard to use. Will used his blade to block the magical blast with all his might. Selma gave the next signal to Lucra, who responded that she had detected an enemy and, holding out her hand, caused a bright flash. Lucra explained that she would use the light to show where the enemy was hiding. Selma ordered Reyna to increase her magical attack. Reyna, with a slight smile, decided to set off fireworks to celebrate Orn joining the team, and immediately there was a powerful explosion. The explosion was huge. Everything around froze for a moment. Lucre, with a satisfied look, noted that it was not for nothing that they were called the strongest team of the Silver Rabbits. Orion was quite surprised at how quickly they reacted. Selma suggested that they might have been attacked by an earth dragon, and perhaps it was still alive. She ordered everyone to remain vigilant. Orion was once again convinced that he was on a team of experienced explorers. Selma and Rain casted the spells quickly. Especially the latter, who used a special level magic that exploded in a second, Orion thought. Usually, a simple mage would need more time to cast a spell. He knew that one could expect nothing less from an experienced researcher. It was Will's turn. He had perfect control over the twin blades and easily dodged the flying projectile. His technique allowed him to dodge and counter at the same time. He was a great vanguard. Orn was speechless. Lucra had a great supply of magical energy. Orn expected nothing less from her. She was confident in both support and ranged combat skills, making her an indispensable part of the team. They were reliable comrades. When the team approached the site of the explosion, they found a dragon there. Lucre asked doubtfully what they should do now with the monster that had attacked them. Selma noticed that he was alone and asked Orn if he could restrain him. For Orn, this was no problem. Selma decided to consolidate their success. Orn and Will were appointed as the main force in the hunt for the dragon. The Earth Dragon was a relatively weak type of dragon. As long as the initiative was on the team, it was not a problem. She advised Reyna to hold off on casting spells for now and only intervene when necessary. Orn needed 3 times the agility boost. Hearing this, Selma activated the Vanguard Boost spell, which included 6 different magic combinations. After completing the preparations, the boys rushed into battle. The hunt began. Orn agreed without hesitation. The boys ran. The hunt began. Will decided to go forward and distract the dragon while Orn was behind him, to which he agreed without hesitation. Will leapt onto the dragon and slashed hard with his twin blades. A shrill roar was heard. Will called out to him with a grin, clearly teasing him. He tried to immobilize the monster, while Orn, approaching with his sword at the ready, wondered if Will knew how to actually immobilize such an opponent. It was only a short distance to the dragon. Suddenly, Orn noticed something approaching at high speed. He instinctively dodged. An unclear object flew past. It turned out to be a camouflage turtle, a magical creature that inhabited many of the lower floors of the labyrinth. These beasts could blend into their surroundings and attack suddenly. Although they were not considered particularly strong on their own, they can be dangerous when attacking with other monsters. Orn decided to leave the turtle as a rear guard. Rain told everyone to look where Orn attacked and where the turtle was. Orn shouted Selma's name, letting them know that the turtle was on them. Without wasting a second, he released his inner strength, and with a powerful thrust his sword straight into the dragon. Will was quite surprised when Orn cut the entire dragon in half. Orn thanked Will for distracting the dragon. Using the release powers was no joke. Now it was time to deal with the turtle. Reyna threw a fiery spear at it, which easily cut the enemy in 2. Will said with relief that they could relax now, to which the black-haired man responded with a denial and stated that this was not the end. At that moment, Will also noticed something approaching and was forced to agree. There was a crash, then another. It was an earth dragon. Orn had the thought that the second earth dragon had seen him cut down the first and had decided to attack him and Will rather than the rear guard because it thought they were more dangerous. Selma praised the boys for the redone work and was glad that Will also noticed the attack. Orn agreed with her and was stunned by the fact that he heard the girl's thoughts. Will smiled and winked at this, emphasizing that this was the girl's ability, allowing the group to communicate telepathically. Selma stated that from now on she would give orders telepathically and asked if the black-haired man could handle it. He responded in the affirmative, noting that he had previously been in the heroes group, so such communication was not a problem for him. The girl ordered the boys to go ahead, and the girls to attack with magic as soon as the boys immobilized the dragon. She surrounded Will with magic and told him to begin. The chief used a spatial jump spell, a complex magic that required high concentration and skill. Orn was amazed at how easily and quickly she activated it. Will, who was under the spell, reacted with a satisfied smile. Will offered Orn to hold off the dragon, to which he agreed. They rushed to attack, distracting the beast. At this time, Lucre and Rain, preparing for a joint attack, began the countdown. The girls went on the attack. Lucre said that the dragon was caught and would not be able to dodge, to which Rain said that she would finish it off. Then both activated a spell. Lucre shouted out the Ice Spear spell while the other activated the Thunder Hammer. A whirlwind of magical energy engulfed the battlefield, rushed towards the already immobilized dragon, and covered it with a deafening explosion. Everyone was relieved and happy when the fight ended. Selma asked Orn how he liked their first fight together. He replied that it was great teamwork and he expected nothing less. Selma smiled back and asked if they could conquer the 97th floor with their skills. The black-haired man answered positively. Selma added that if he was with them, they would succeed, but he did not agree with her. He believed that even without him, with such a strong lineup, they could win the Black Dragon. Orn felt that the team was desperate after Albert's death, which was why they trained so hard. Selma thanked him for his frankness. Rain intervened and sadly said that they had trained to the point of exhaustion, not knowing if it would bring results. However, she immediately added with a smile that Orn's praise gave them strength. The boy also wanted to help them become the strongest group and declared that they would fight together. They spent 2 hours on the 86th floor before they found their target. The poisonous sheep was right in front of them. Lucre took command. Orn was given the job of shearing wool, and Will was to help him, which he agreed to. After the sheep is defeated, a magic stone and horns remain. The body may remain, but this is unlikely and rare. The Black Dragon is an exception in this regard. Orn thought that while the sheep was alive, he had to manage to cut the necessary wool from it. He couldn't rely on luck this time. Fortunately, he knew a method that was guaranteed to allow him to get the necessary material. Selma ordered Rain to immobilize the sheep. The black-haired woman cast the spell Stone Trap. Selma gave the signal to Lucre, who, having understood everything, struck the monster with lightning. Will, running back into battle, offered to distract the monster and ordered Orna to do his part of the task while the sheep could not move. While the blonde distracted the monster, the black-haired one quickly completed the task and cut off the fur with a knife. The girls watched the process, and when the job was done, Lucre loudly praised them. Orn relayed his thoughts. Everything is so easy because they work as a team. Now it's the magic's turn. Selma ordered Rain to finish off the sheep with magic, because the shearing was already finished. She agreed with a smile and asked the vanguard to disperse. She cast a spell and signaled Orn. He decided to trust her. She agreed with a smile and asked the vanguard to disperse. She cast a spell and signaled Orn. He decided to trust her. There was no trace left of the monster. It was defeated. Rain praised Orn, noting that the monster's fur was stronger than steel and even advanced magic could not always penetrate it. The new member thanked him, but their conversation was interrupted by Selga, who suggested shearing the fur. Everyone supported the idea. After that, everything went smoothly for the team. They shaved the fur off 4 of them and decided to stop there for today. Coming to the surface, Lucre noted with satisfaction that the air here was delicious, and then added with displeasure that she was hungry. Will agreed and suggested having a welcoming dinner, since it had not been possible the day before. Selga asked if Orn was against it, and he supported the proposal. Everyone cheered. As they walked, Orn remembered that he had business in the research department regarding the newcomers the next day, and wanted to ask Selma for permission. She replied that she was also going there and offered to go together if he didn't mind and could do it in the morning. He agreed and thought to himself how busy the leaders were. He was one of them and should help to ease Selma's load. At that moment, someone from the team announced that tonight's party would be in full swing, and the others agreed. The entire team gathered at a restaurant called Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky. Selga raised her glass of beer and offered to greet Orn. Everyone clinked glasses and shouted that they needed to drink to the bottom. Orn thanked him for the welcome, but Selga stopped him. saying that there was nothing to thank him for. After defeating the dragon, everyone paid attention to him, and she was glad that he ended up on their team. Rain supported her and added that they too would try their best not to disappoint him. Orn was surprised. He himself considered them a great clan and was sure that he would not regret it. After spending a day with them, he only became more convinced of this. He was very happy that now he would be able to explore the labyrinth with them. Lucre burst into tears at Orn's words. They seemed very warm to her. She too was glad that he was someone she could relate to. Even though they were complete opposites, she was afraid that they would not find common ground. Will immediately added that they really were complete opposites. Lucre got mad and yelled at Will. Orn thought it was hard for him to be as optimistic as Lucre, but he hoped they could continue to get along and be friends. While the others drank, Orn remembered his grandfather's words to live without regrets. He was sure that, having joined the clan, he would not regret anything. Now he wanted to open up to the team even more. Everyone was having fun, but the evening was drawing to a close. At some point, Selma sighed heavily. The black-haired man noticed this, and, calling her by name, asked if everything was okay. She smiled and said he was a good guy. Orn was surprised. His eyes widened. The girl looked at him with shining eyes, and he did not understand what was going on. While she looked at the guy with shining eyes, he continued to call her by name. Selma closed her eyes. The weight on her back was heavy. Suddenly, she looked at the guy and repeated what she had said earlier, that he was a good guy. Orn still didn't understand what was going on. He asked her in surprise what was wrong. Selma replied that she was not joking, she was completely serious. The guy was embarrassed that she blushed while saying such words. He was sure that he would lose consciousness if she came closer. He was attracted by the girl's body and lips. The girl took Orn by the hand and suggested doing it after dinner. The guy didn't understand what she meant. The only phrase that was spinning in his head was after dinner. Selma suggested drinking the contents of the bottle and having a competition to see how many seconds it would take them to empty it. Orn noticed that the girl was already drunk. He realized that he had misinterpreted her words and suggested that they postpone the drink for later, putting the bottle away. However, he could not calm down. Orn knew he had to pull himself together. He tried to dissuade Selma from having more, hinting that she was already drunk. The girl, however, denied this, insisting that she had a high threshold for alcohol tolerance. She wanted to celebrate the guy joining them and hang out until the early hours. The guy politely declined. He was grateful for the hospitality, but he thought it was wrong to stay out that late. Orn was sweating from the strain. Selma suddenly flared up, accusing him of wanting to run away because he found her unattractive. Orn quickly denied this. She couldn't understand why he refused to continue the fun. In response, he reminded her that they were going to the research department in the morning. The chief, however, did not agree with him. She was satisfied with the option of drinking until dawn and then immediately going on business. Orn realized that persuasion was useless and decided to turn to Rain for help. She approached the couple with a smile, asking what Selma was up to. The guy sighed in relief, thinking that she would help, but instead, the black-haired girl decided to join them too. Selma put her arm around the guy's neck and Rain's arm, and the guy realized that by calling the other one, he had made things worse. Rain stroked his hands with admiration, marveling at their strength. Orn tried to maintain his composure. He tried to imagine Rain as a small child, so that it would be easier to cope with the awkwardness. But Selma's breasts pressed against him, and her softness made his heart beat faster. Here they were noticed by Lucre and Will. Lucre laughingly said that the black-haired man was a macho, to which Will agreed, adding that he had grabbed two beauties at once. Orn denied it, asking them to help him. Will laughed and said that Orn was the hero today, and how could he be against tasting? Orn introduced Rain and Selma, whose jaw he was stroking. Will noticed him think for a moment. The black-haired man denied it, repeating that it was impossible, and Selma put in her 2 cents, adding that she didn't mind. Lucre shouted that it was decided, but the guy clearly did not agree with her. 2 soldered girls, like koalas, did not let him go, hugging him from all sides. Selma suggested to Orna that maybe she should taste it, to which the younger added that she wanted it too. While Rain kissed the guy's ear, he didn't understand that they were already tasting it. His eyes became the size of 5 kopecks. Orn felt uneasy. He knew it was wrong. He didn't know what to do. The girls didn't leave him alone. He couldn't use force and push them away in case they hit each other, but nothing else came to his mind. The girls took turns whispering Orion's name. Rain kissed his neck while Selma reached for his lips. He couldn't do that to them, they were his comrades. So he decided to use magic and put the girls to sleep. Their bodies weakened, and soon they both fell asleep. The blonde one noticed it first. Lucre wanted to continue, but quickly realized that nothing more would happen. Will asked Lucre to pay the bill while he and the black-haired one carried the girls on his back. She agreed. Orn breathed a sigh of relief. Apparently no one noticed that it was he who put them to sleep. The boys were carrying 2 sleeping girls on their backs. Despite the strangeness of the situation, Orn caught himself thinking that he hadn't felt so cheerful in a long time. At home, Selma was awaited by her worried younger sister. Sitting on the bed with a book, she was worried about her sister's delay. She was especially interested in whether there had been any progress in Orn's studies, since Selma had discussed this issue with her yesterday. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Sophia stood up, wary. Who could have come so late? Selma usually didn't knock. Approaching the door, she asked who was there. Orion's voice was heard behind the door. He apologized for the late visit. The girl tensed up. Perhaps something serious had happened. She asked him why he had come at such a time. Orn replied that they had been having a celebratory dinner, and something unexpected had happened. She was surprised by the answer and did not immediately know what to say. Orion asked to open the door. It was easier for him to show than to explain. Besides, it was getting hard for him. The girl did not understand what was going on. She decided that he was feeling sad and wanted to confess something to her. She shouted that he would open the door now. Orion stood at the door, holding Selma on his back. He wished her a good evening and apologized for coming unannounced. What she saw amazed the younger sister. She froze in surprise. Her eyes widened, not expecting to see her sister so close to Orn. Not understanding what was going on, she asked sharply what his relationship was like with Selma. The guy quickly realized that she had misunderstood everything and explained that Selma had simply had too much to drink. Sophia sighed in relief, but still apologized for having to deal with her. She was scared. Usually, her sister being drunk was a rarity, and she decided that she had had a lot of fun today. At that moment, Selma sleepily said Orion's name, to which he responded in kind with surprise. The younger sister came up and began shaking her sister by the shoulders, trying to wake her up. Seeing that her efforts were useless, she was finally convinced that the evening had been a success. The younger one did not give up and tried to wake up her sister, despite her panting. Finally, the sister woke up and asked where she was, to which the guy replied that he brought her to the room. Smiling, Selma said she hoped they had made it to his room. Her sister intervened, mockingly saying that since she was awake, she should probably get off Orn's back. And with a smile, she added not to cause him any trouble. Selma's eyes widened in surprise. She screamed, recognizing her sister. The sister, pretending that nothing unusual was happening, calmly asked how Selma had slept. The sister mumbled in response, not knowing what to say. To which the little sister added frighteningly that they would talk later. Selma stuttered a little and answered in agreement. Orn interrupted the sister's conversation, saying that he would go to his room. Selma thanked the guy and apologized for what had happened. He just waved her off, assuring her that nothing terrible had happened, and added that he had even enjoyed the evening. Remembering something, he turned to Sophia to tell her something important. He thought he would officially tell Estella, but he would like to take over the training of the 10th group. Sophia was happy to work with him. The guy reciprocated. She asked him to take care of them. Having said goodnight, the black-haired man went to his room. The girls also said goodnight to him. Selma, watching him go, noticed that her sister also did not take her eyes off Orn as he left. After they returned to their room, Selma began to rejoice for Sophia, saying what wonderful news, to which the second could not help but agree. Suddenly, the younger stopped laughing, becoming serious, and asked what it was, to which the older one began to mumble. The next day, as Orn carried the breakfast tray through the dining room, he felt awkward as everyone around him glanced at him. The guy thought to himself that it would be nice if he made a lot of acquaintances so that he would have someone to talk to. However, no one even approached him to get acquainted. When he put his food on the table, he heard someone call him by name from the side. It was Lucre, with a sunny smile and a good mood. Next to her was a girl in glasses. Lucre asked if they could sit together, to which the guy agreed. He looked at the girl and realized that they were not familiar. The girl, out of excitement, began to babble that she knew him and introduced herself as Nina. She was from the Department of Magic Development. Orn asked if he could address her informally. Nina nodded. Then Lucre intervened, joking that they were so serious because they were all the same age, they needed to relax. Nina joked in response that Lucre was too relaxed. Nina also decided to call Orn by his first name. Lucre was glad that the atmosphere had become informal and called Nina over to show her something. She demonstrated the trick with a spoon, fork, and a mug, a magic trick that Orn had taught her the day before. Nina was pleasantly surprised. A glowing book appeared in the center of the table, the result of Orn's original magic, superior to ordinary spells. Nina looked at it with interest. Orn explained that he had created this spell by accident while trying to develop another. When he showed it to Lucre, she liked it very much, and he decided to show it to the other members of the group. Orion suggested that if Nina wanted, he could teach her too. Orion suggested that if Nina wanted, he could teach her too. The girl's eyes widened. She wasn't in the first group after all. But Orn said it didn't matter, magic was useful in everyday life, and he planned to publish its formula in the future. Nina was shocked. She didn't believe that he was ready to share such powerful magic. It was almost a holy act. Orn explained that he would like to, but he didn't have the free time yet. But he had one request for Nina in exchange for training. She asked in surprise, what exactly? Orn wanted to publish the magic under the pseudonym Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky. He didn't care how the magic spread, but he wanted the clan to benefit from it. Nina was interested and asked if they could sell a magic tool with this function first and then publish the formula. Orn confirmed that he had no objections. The girl asked him again if he was sure, since it was his invention. The black-haired man said without a doubt that he was sure. The magic happened by accident, and the formula was quite simple. They sat at the table, Lucre ate, and watched them. Orn said that this magic could help both the clan and society, so it should be published quickly. Nina's department was engaged in development and would quickly find a way to implement it. Orn did not mind if only clan members had access to the formula. The guy believed that this magic could bring income to the entire clan, and that's why he wanted Nina's help. The girl understood him and promised to help him. Blackhair joined the clan, but still thought that he had not done anything significant. He wanted to prove that they had made the right decision. The girls supported him in this. Nina wanted to discuss something with the guy and wanted him to come to their department when he had free time. Then she remembered something she needed the guy's advice. Nina folded her arms and explained that their department was actively developing magical tools that could help researchers. They were assisted in their work by top specialists such as Lucre and Rain. She wondered if Orn had any ideas or knowledge that he could share. She wanted to hear his opinion right now, if he didn't mind. Orn saw no reason to refuse. However, he didn't have time at the moment. He asked if it would be convenient if he dropped by their department later when he was free. The long-haired girl agreed. Nina thanked him. Lucre started praising Orn again, saying what a good leader he was, just like Selma. The black-haired man agreed that he would be training the newcomers, and he planned to go to the research department about it right after breakfast. Nina was delighted. He was from the first group, and he had already become a mentor. She clarified that it was he who was supposed to teach the 10th group. Orn confirmed. The girl was pleased with her guess. Lucre added that he was spinning like a squirrel in a wheel. All three had potential. The guy was sure. Soon, Nina made an unexpected proposal that interested Lucre. She suggested that the researcher replace Orn in training so that he would have more time to work with the department. The long-haired girl immediately began to persuade her friend. Lucre, frowning with displeasure, muttered that Nina was too cruel. They were friends after all. But as soon as someone more useful than her appeared, she was ready to sell Lucre. Lucre cried out that she thought Nina was fair. She only asked him not to say that. Orn, watching the squabble, became slightly sad. He was having fun, but the situation quickly got out of control. He decided to intervene and stop the argument, saying that he was not going to trade with anyone. He wanted to give it his all so that the newcomers would become the best explorers of the labyrinth. Nina chuckled and told him to train them so that in 3 months, they would be at the level of the vanguard. Even though Orn would have liked to visit her department more often, he mentally breathed a sigh of relief. It was over. While he was chatting with the girls, it was time for the meeting. At the door of the research department, he saw Selma, whom he had agreed to meet. He wished her a good morning, to which she responded quietly, Orn noted to himself that she did not seem in the mood. He assumed she was remembering the night before when she had been drunk. While he was debating whether to bring it up, Selma herself caught his attention. Looking at the floor and blushing, she apologized for yesterday. She was ashamed. Orn was slightly surprised, but smiled, noting to himself how cute her face became when she was embarrassed. He decided that it was worth reassuring her. She asked him to forget about what happened. Orn understood her feelings and assured her that everything was fine. Alcohol had simply gone to everyone's heads, and there was no need to worry about trifles. The girl smiled and looked at the guy. She smiled with sparkling eyes and thanked him once again, saying that the guy's fame had reassured her. She suggested going to the research department. Orn nodded, asking her to lead the way. Only Selma didn't know that he would hardly ever forget last night. Sophia lay on her bed. Yes, Selma was her older sister, but this was too much. After Orn left, the sisters sat on the bed. Sophia waited silently for an explanation. She called Selma, but she just silently looked at the floor. She was scared. Selma clenched her fists in her lap and decided to apologize first before telling the truth. She felt uneasy under her younger sister's gaze. She was angry at herself for getting drunk. She explained everything to her sister, that they had a new addition to their team and they decided to celebrate. She was in a good mood, drank more than usual, got drunk, and fell asleep. Recalling how Orn carried her on his back, she added that he behaved like a true gentleman. Selma regretted what had happened. The younger listened quietly, without interrupting. She mumbled and flopped down on her bed. Selma was scared and didn't understand what her sister was thinking. Sophia was silent, not answering questions. Sophia, a little offended, reproached her elder one for having so much to do lately. Now that Orn had joined them, her burden should be lighter. That was probably why she had relaxed yesterday. Selma understood everything and felt ashamed. The younger one advised that if she really wanted to express gratitude to the guy, then in the future it would be better to restrain herself. Looking at my sister, I asked her to be more careful in the future and not cause inconvenience to others. Selma, almost crying, thought, could this really be her little sister? Looking at her angelic smile, she thought, a real angel, descended from heaven. Selma began to cry quietly, promising to be more attentive. Sophia, seeing this, asked in surprise why she was crying, but the elder did not answer. She only wiped her tears with a white handkerchief, thinking how lucky she was to have her sister. Seeing that she did not stop, Sophia suggested changing the topic of conversation. Sophia told her sister that their new recruit group would officially begin to exist tomorrow. The research department confirmed this to her. She also knew that Orn would be their mentor. Selma, having calmed down a bit, said that Orn had mentioned it. Sophia was glad that Orn would be their mentor. She still couldn't believe it. Selma confidently stated that she had no doubt the guy had immediately shown interest in them as soon as he found out about the recruitment. Sophia squealed with delight, still not fully believing it. Selma smiled. Her sister was a real cutie. Selma noticed that the youngest was more motivated than ever. She advised her to take a shower and go to bed, but Sophia admitted that she was too happy to fall asleep. Then Selma offered to sing her a lullaby. As Selma left the room, she turned around at the door. She thought that her sister had never smiled so sincerely before. But in recent days, whenever the conversation turned to Orna, Sophia seemed to glow. The older one didn't know if the younger one understood her special feelings for the guy, and the younger one was already sleeping soundly. For the first time, her sister directed warm feelings to someone other than her. She was even a little jealous, but still happy to see Sophia like this. The elder sister decided to support her sister. It would be right. However, remembering how she got drunk and disgraced herself, Selma covered her face with her hands in shame. She had disgraced herself in front of Orn, too. She usually didn't drink so much, but this time it happened. Remembering how she and Rain had hugged him, she decided not to take another drop. Standing at the threshold of the room, Selma realized how much she had done while drunk. She needed to think it over calmly. She admired Orn as a person, as a researcher. But feelings, she should not have any other feelings for him. The girl's face began to turn red. She thought that the alcohol had hit her head again, and her heart began to beat faster as if she... The door opened and Sophia, holding a white towel in her hands, asked if she needed a clean towel. Selma screamed in fear, to which her sister asked what she was afraid of. She did not answer and chattered as she took the clean towel. Selma did not like what she was thinking. Then, looking at her sister, she thought to herself that she should think about Sophia. She doesn't know how long they will live together, but she should do more for her during that time. The eldest thanked her for the towel. Sophia waved her hand and told her to wash quickly and not to linger, otherwise she would catch a cold. Standing in her underwear and shirt, with a towel in her hands, the older one paused in front of the bathroom. Sophia said, "Good night," and left. Selma finally said goodnight back and decided it was time for a shower. Standing under the hot streams of the shower, Selma enjoyed herself. She felt lighter inside. It seemed as if she was washing away the entire burden of the past day. As she lathered up her shampoo, she thought that tomorrow she would definitely apologize to Orn. And she hoped that their relationship would not change. She wanted to believe that. She remembered telling Orn what a good guy he was and thought to herself that when a person gets drunk, he says things he can't say. As she washed the foam off her body, it seemed to her that these were her real feelings. Putting her face under the streams of water, she denied, "This can't be. It's impossible." But the girl's heart was still not at peace. The newcomers rejoiced, holding their hands because they had an ideal teacher. A girl named Estella, with cat ears from the administration department, greeted Selma and Orn and thanked them for coming. Her desk was in the usual mess as always. Papers, books, notes, and the like, which Selma noticed, to which Orn also agreed. The girl got out of it, saying that it was creative chaos. Selma reproached the girl for being irresponsible, hoping that Orn would support her. But Estella disagreed, saying that she was coping with her responsibilities, and meowed. When Orn first met her, she seemed like a completely different person to him, or she always behaved like that. Estella, having come to her senses, removed her ears and switched to work mode. She asked if he had studied the material she had sent. Having received confirmation, she asked the main question. Would he mind becoming the mentor of the 10th group? Orn answered confidently that he had no intention of refusing. The two girls accepted his answer with a smile. Estella thanked him and informed him that he could start today. Orn did not object, but noted that he had not received any educational program. This surprised the girl. She said with a smile that there is no educational team, and everything depends on the mentor, then on him. The guy was surprised. Selma, from the side of the hem of her voice, confused her as Estella called Orna. Estella thought that the guy was against her calling him by name, to which the guy denied he was surprised because of the lack of an educational program. Estella winked and replied that these kids were perfect for the guy, and for them, the guy was the perfect teacher. She wanted the guy to teach them from his experience. This approach was needed for a new generation of Silver Rabbit researchers. He thought about the approach. He said if it was about knowledge and technique of studying the labyrinth, then he could really teach beginners something. Educational program free, the guy asked about setting goals, to which the girl agreed. But she added that the goals will be set after assessing the potential of the newcomers. However, she expects that in 6 months the children will be able to clean the middle floors on their own. Orn answered a little tensely that she had very vague expectations, to which she, smiling and folding the papers, said that he was new and the expectations were higher. In addition, she was sure that he would be able to achieve such goals. It was not for nothing that they made such a decision. The guy realized that they wanted the children to go through at least 50 floors under his leadership. He thought that if, under his leadership, they would be able to win the boss, but would he be able to teach the children in 6 months? Despite everything, he agreed and promised to give his best. Estella supported him, saying that it would not be easy for him, but she believed in him. He was a versatile genius. Then she asked if she could call him Versatile Rabbit, to which Selma said that the second name was better. The guy did not dwell on this and gave the choice to the girls. Standing at the door where the 10th group was waiting for him, Orn was worried. He had already met Sophia, but he hadn't seen the other two since they had fought the dragon. They could have changed a lot in that time. He opened the door and asked if they had been waiting for him for too long as he entered. Caroline shouted hello, Sophia said hello, and Logan exclaimed that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Orn, a little surprised, confirmed that a lot of time had passed. He had worried in vain. Sitting down at the table, he asked if they knew why he had called them. Logan replied that they had been told that he would be their new instructor. Logan still couldn't believe that Orn would be their mentor. He was delighted. Orn felt that Logan had changed a lot, and he wondered what had happened to him. Orn promised that he would try not to disappoint them and make them better researchers. Caroline noted with admiration that a great man has great goals. That is why he was able to defeat the Black Dragon. Sophia also considered Orn an outstanding explorer, since he had defeated such a powerful monster. The children sincerely expressed their respect. Hearing this, Orn thought, staring at one point. While the children took turns admiring him, his mind went back to that fight. From the outside, it looked like he had won, but in reality, he was on the verge of defeat. Looking down, he thought, if every fight goes like this, it won't be good. So that the children don't get hurt, he has to become stronger. He thanked the guys and asked if they considered the Black Dragon their opponent whom they wanted to defeat. He was interested in whether the guys were serious about conquering all the floors of the labyrinth. Sophia asked in surprise, to which the guy nodded, but he warned that it would not be easy, but he thought that they had enough strength to defeat the monster. He saw great potential in them. They were talented, they just needed to gain experience to become the best. Logan exclaimed that they would give it their all. The words of the mentor inspired the girls, and they enthusiastically agreed. Sophia confidently declared that she would try her best. Orn was pleased with their zeal. He wanted to pass on all his knowledge to them, but first he voiced two important rules. Showing the index finger began that it is important to work with the head. Despite the existence of solutions to the same problem, they must choose a way that does not drive them. He explained that even random events and conversations could lead to a solution. The children listened attentively. Logan even started taking notes. Secondly, Orn began to not consider everything he said to be 100% true. The children were surprised. They could not understand how the teacher's words were not true. Then Orn explained, he is not all-knowing and not all-powerful. He can make mistakes too. Even as a teacher, he is not always right. He wanted them to learn to think for themselves and not blindly follow other people's words. He added that he wouldn't mind if they started asking questions when they had doubts. Everyone agreed in unison. Chernovalisi wanted to know why they decided to become investigators and asked them to tell him, although he partly understood why. He wanted to hear it from their lips. It was quite possible that they had different views. He decided to start with Sophia first. Sophia, introducing her sister, replied that she wanted to become like Selma Claudel. She wanted to create her own destiny rather than go with the flow. So she decided to become an explorer. Here she met many different people and realized how huge the world is. And in this huge world, she wants to live as she wants and follow her place and become an explorer. Orn listened to her with a slight smile. He remembered her saying that her life had changed after joining the guild. But he only truly understood the meaning of those words when he learned about her past, and then his opinion of her changed. Orn told Sophia that this was excellent thinking, and then assured her that he would help her fulfill her dream. Sophia blushed and, embarrassed, stuttered and thanked Orn, and while the guy mentally hoped that he was not overdoing it, Caroline smiled, turned to Sophia and said that she would help too. Then Orn said that it was Logan's turn. The boy stood up and said that he decided to become an explorer, to earn money and help his homeland live a comfortable life. His home village is a barren land, and sometimes they don't know what they will eat tomorrow. However, everyone from his village pooled their last savings to send the boy to the city, telling Logan that he has a talent for magic and the boy should not rot in the village, so Logan wants to become a successful explorer and buy them enough food to fill their bellies every day. Logan wants to make those who sent him here happy. That's his goal. Orn understood that the boy wanted to thank the villagers. Logan said that he was lucky to grow up with them. However, the boy squeezed his knees with his fingers and said that he was too weak. He is ashamed to say it, but just recently, the boy believed that he was equal in strength to experienced researchers. But when Logan learned the true strength of Orn, and when he experienced the horror of the Black Dragon, he realized that he still had a long way to go. Laurent is not strong enough, he does not have enough strength to achieve his goal, so Laurent asks Orn to make him a worthy researcher, repeating that he really asks. Laurent looked at Orn seriously, and Orn was surprised by the similarity. Orn couldn't help but remember how the boy with the same look had covered him with himself, protecting him while Orn was still a child and unable to fight any longer. Orn became a little sad, and then said that he understood Laurent and would teach him everything he knew, but whether the boy would be able to achieve his goal would depend mainly on Laurent, so he should not forget about it. The boy agreed and thanked Orn, saying that he would try, and Orn noted that Laurent now understands that he will not achieve his goal so easily. The boy has noticeably matured. His eyes look straight into the future, and Orn likes Laurent's look. Orn looked at Caroline, and the girl herself stood up, asking affirmatively if it was her turn, Smiling, the girl put her index finger to her chin. Orn nodded affirmatively and asked why Caroline decided to become a researcher, and the guy thought that he would ask the girl a simple question. Since he did not want to force her to dig into her past, Caroline thought about it, and Orn concluded that he still wanted to hear it from her lips. Given her terrible past, what path of research will she choose? Caroline Ingla, she was held captive by a criminal organization, where she was treated inhumanely and it took a long time before she could be rescued. Orn asked the girl why she decided to become a researcher, and the girl thought about it. Then Caroline replied that there was no particular reason. Orn asked again, puzzled. And Caroline said that if he wanted any reason, then she wanted to kill monsters so that others could smile. That's why she wanted to be an explorer. Orn mentally noted that this was some kind of nonsense. Orn mentally noted that usually, people who have experienced something like this want to forget about everything and live quietly away from everyone. He would not believe that Caroline had taken such a dangerous path without a special reason. Then Orn asked the girl if she was sure that there was no other reason. At this, the girl's eyes lost all emotion, and she replied that no, only this reason and nothing else. The guy looked at the girl awkwardly, noting that this girl still kept darkness deep in her soul. Then Orn said that he understood, and added that despite such a mundane goal, he praised Caroline for wanting to help people. The girl was surprised, and asked the mentor again. Orn answered her question affirmatively, and noted that researchers extract magic stones from monsters, and in turn, these stones are used to create magical tools that make people's lives better. Then Orn asked Caroline if she liked seeing people smile, and the girl responded affirmatively. Then, smiling radiantly, the girl said that people who smile won't hit her. Orn's eyes widened in shock, and Caroline continued that because of monsters, many people stop smiling, so she must kill all the monsters. While the girl was smiling, Sophia and Laurent also looked at the girl with some confusion and misunderstanding, and Orn noticed that these words were frightening, but not surprising. Considering what she had to go through, she would not be able to let this go for a long time, and sooner or later she would have to face the inner darkness. But whether Orn would be able to help her in time, without thinking further, Orn thanked Caroline for telling him this and noted that now he knew why each of the guys decided to become an explorer. Then Orn said that he would tell about himself sometime later, but now he wants the kids to never forget what they said here, to never forget why they became explorers. Orn didn't like all this psychological stuff, but Caroline's goal and reason to fight really gives her strength to move on and overcome her limits. At least Orn realized this while fighting the Black Dragon. Orn wants these kids to have a reason to move on too. Sophia at first doubtfully, but then more confidently asked Orn if he had any dreams. Orn answered that of course he did. Orn replied that it didn't matter to him how stupid or trivial it was, but he didn't want to lose anything else, no matter what he had to go through. Orn would become stronger and protect what was dear to him. That's why he decided to become an explorer. The weak can't protect anyone, and Orn is weak, so he must become even stronger. Sophia listened to him very carefully. And now Orn will introduce himself properly. From this moment, he is friends with the children, and he is also the person who will teach the children. And the children will be sure that he is going to take them seriously. He may sometimes say too harsh things. It may seem that he will pick on them, but despite this, Orn will always be on their side and will help them. That's why Orn wants them to give it their all too. The children, some with a serious face, some smiling, answered that they would try. Then, remembering that Orn had been asked to be closer to the children, Orn turned to Caroline, asking if she minded if he called her by a name other than hers. Caroline replied that she did, but asked why. To which Orn said that her name was very long, and a long name was difficult to pronounce in an emergency, to which the girl noted that this was logical. Then the girl smiled and said that since Orn wouldn't call her by her name, then let him come up with something cool, to which Orn asked again what he should come up with, and Caroline cooed, and calling Orn little brother said to come up with something. Orn thought dejectedly that it would be possible to shorten her name to Car, but that was too simple. Having put forward the proposal that the girl would henceforth be Carol, Orn asked her what she thought. Carol was delighted and said that she liked it, and from now on her name would be Carol. But then Laurent jumped up from his seat and, calling out to Orn, said that since it came to that, he was asking Orn to also come up with a nickname for him, while the boy glowed even more than Carol from inspiration, while Orn fell into instant despondency. Orn tried to notice that Logan was already a short name, and the boy bowed and said that he was asking for it anyway. Orn smiled slightly and suggested the nickname Log to the boy. The child thought about it, and then beamed even more than before and said that this was the name that Mr. Orn had given him. Orn said that this was not a name and thought, noticing Sophia silently looking at Log, that since they had started, it would be better to continue, and he thought, scratching the back of his head. Turning to Sophia, he suggested her the nickname Sophie. The girl blushed slightly and was surprised, and Orn explained that it was not very different from her name and asked her if she was against such a name. The girl immediately chattered that nothing of the sort and she really liked it. Then smiling, the girl repeated her nickname, turning to Carol. Sophie said that they were now Sophie and Carol. Carol nodded happily. Then Log remarked that it would be nice to come up with something for Orn, to call him something else. To this Orn weakly protested that his name was already short, then asked Log if he was really suggesting to shorten his name. To this Log said no, but they should call Orn something. Then Log asked permission to call Orn Master, and Carol screamed that it was unfair and she also wanted to call her brother Master, and Orn fell into indescribable shock. Looking at the serious faces of the children, Orn realized that the guys seemed to be serious and, giving in, said that he didn't mind, and then asked Sophie if she would also call him that, and Sophie babbled embarrassedly that for now she thinks she will stick to Mr. Orn, and Orn said that he didn't mind. Then Orn said that it was time to start the lecture. Today was their first day, so they would start with the basics. Perhaps it would be something that the children already knew, but Orn asked them to be patient and listen to him. If they had questions, the children could safely ask. Starting to write on the board, Orn said that when they talk about the labyrinth, they most often talk about monsters. Then Orn said that they would start with the obvious. Monsters attack people as soon as they are seen. They are attracted to large crowds of people. When Orn and his other comrades studied, they realized that monsters are capable of thinking. But that's not all. Monsters are almost obsessed with one more thing, and these are magic stones. With these breaks, Orn demonstrated those very stones. Then Orn noted that, as the guys know, after death, monsters drop their magic stones. When a monster wins and absorbs a magic stone, it becomes stronger. Perhaps that is why they are so drawn to magic stones. Log noted that Orn had said before that they are attracted to a large crowd of people. If there is a person with a magic stone nearby, will he be his priority target? Orn agreed with Log. Of course, it is worth remembering that monsters will first and foremost defend themselves rather than hunt for someone. And many shield bearers and defenders attach magic stones to their equipment to be a priority target, both in combat and outside of combat. Sophie thoughtfully said that she understood something, and Orn asked her what it was, to which the girl excitedly said that nothing like that. Orn chuckled slightly and said that it was normal to make mistakes. If Sophie made a mistake, then Orn would simply correct her, so wouldn't it be better to share her thoughts? The girl hesitantly agreed with Orn's arguments and said that she noticed that when Orn fought the black dragon, he wore a necklace with a magic stone on his neck, and Sophie wondered if Orn put it on to attract the dragon's attention. Orn was a little surprised, and then, confirming the girl's guess, praised her for noticing it. Log looked at Sophie dejectedly while she smiled. Then Sophie thanked Orn for the praise, and Carol admiringly noted that Sophie managed to notice something like this in battle. Orn mentally noted that Sophie had noticed this back then, and he was really surprised that Sophie was able to connect his lesson. And that incident, amazingly, Sophie was able to think much more broadly than he thought. If Orn would praise her little by little, I would instill confidence in her. Then the guy said that they continue. Anyway, the kids understood how the monsters behaved, and Orn thinks the kids understood that without exploring the labyrinth, you can't create magic tools. Then the guy asked them if the kids understood why. Log noted that it was because magic stones were needed to create magic tools. Orn nodded affirmatively and explained that there are combat magic tools that allow the use of offensive magic and are very useful in combat, but you need to use only good and necessary tools for the situation. Only high-quality tools are useful, others can only make things worse. Log thoughtfully added to Orn's words that it is also important to use the magic storage, because the monster does not sense the magic tools that are there. Orn noted that it was indeed better than just carrying them around in their hands. Although there were risks involved, Log asked if that was true, and Orn continued, suggesting that the magic stones emit some sort of odor that only monsters can smell, and that the kids could put the tools in storage and that would weaken the odor, but it wouldn't go away completely, so if the kids were to carry around a whole arsenal, they would still attract monsters. Log exclaimed in surprise, and said that he didn't know. Orn really knows a lot. Already in the first lesson, Log learned so much new, live and learn, and Orn thought that the boy was somehow too energetic. It was somehow even exhausting. When the bell rang, Orn was even surprised that it was already noon. Then the guy suggested going to the labyrinth, and Sophie asked in surprise if it was possible to do that. Orn nodded affirmatively and noted that he was told that he could teach them as he wanted, and that sitting all day was very boring. According to his educational program, the children had to show him what they were all capable of. They gather near the dormitory at 1:30. Orn asked the guys not to forget to have lunch in the dining hall. Carol asked him if he would go to the dining hall. The guy answered that he always has field snacks prepared when he is going to the labyrinth and asked not to worry about him. Carol smiled, enthusiastically noting that field snacks sounded great. Then Carol asked Orn what it was and said that she wanted to try it too. Log also said that he would like to try it. Sophie also said that she wanted it too. Orn sighed and said that he still had a lot left, but they were not as tasty. A minute later, the children looked at the field snacks with admiration. The children happily wished them a bon appetit before eating, and Orn thought that the field snacks were nothing special and tasted so-so. When the children tried it, their expressions were telling. Carol tried to say something bad, but Log covered her mouth with his hand and said that it was a great dish, then continued that he could not believe that the master could cook something so delicious. Carol tried to say something about the taste, but she was told not to say anything. Orn raised his hands and said that he knew perfectly well what it tasted like, so the children could not choke. And despite this, the children still ate everything, thanking Orn for the treat, although he told them not to choke. Then the children went to the Southern Great Labyrinth on the 11th floor. Orn said that now they will test the children's individual abilities in battle, and he wants to see what the children are capable of one by one. Then he asked them not to be afraid. If something goes wrong, he will protect them and ask them to give it their all. Orn also asked the children, when they fight, to wear a necklace. Sophie asked if this was to attract the attention of monsters in battle. Orn answered yes and said that they would start with Sophie. The girl nodded affirmatively, preparing for battle. Sophie stepped forward a little to intercept the slugs. Carol screamed that it was a slug and said to kill it. Sophie warned that she was attacking and took out her magic staff, used the spell Fire Arrow. The girl attacked the slugs. Mentally noting that the slimes were attacking, Sophie dodged the attack and jumped back. Then telling herself to keep her distance and remain calm, Sophie used Fire Arrow again. Orn, watching the fight, noted that so far everything was fine. The slimes were very weak to fire attacks. For a beginner, Sophie was able to quickly exploit their weakness. If she continued to develop her skills, she would become a good magician. Then Orn decided that he would need to give Sophie a couple more pieces of advice, while Carol, encouragingly, said that there was one more left and told him to push harder. When the last slug fell from the fire attack, Sophie said that she was done. Orn approached her, praised Sophie, and said that she did well. The girl, blushing, thanked for the praise, and Orn told Log that he would go next, and Log, agreeing, stepped forward. While preparing for battle, Log heard unpleasant sounds, and then goblins came out to meet them. Log immediately concentrated, and Orn mentally noted that Log's sorcerer and he specializes in strengthening allies, but he must also be able to attack in order to support allies. You can't go far on buffs alone. A sorcerer must be a jack of all trades. Log immediately activated 2 spells at once. Orn noted this with surprise. Log's first spell was Magic Barrier, which held back the goblins, and the second spell was Earth Spikes, attacking them. While Log exhaled, Orn noted that the children could go through higher floors. The newcomers seriously surprised him. Not everyone could use several spells at once. Log said that he had finished, and Orn praised him and said that it was an excellent job. Log thanked him, saying that Orn's praise meant a lot to the boy, and Orn mentally noted that he still had a lot to learn, but Log was already a worthy sorcerer. Orn needed to think about what exactly he should teach Log. And lastly, Carol remained. 2 white wolves were rushing towards the girl. She held daggers in her hands and rushed to attack. First dodging, she jumped, and then landing, she immediately attacked, cutting both of them at once. After a few more dagger strikes, Carol continued to cut down the wolves, and Orn noted that the vanguard always rushes at the enemy first. As Carol continued to fight, Orn noted that Carol was currently in the role of a defender, but if they went further down, she would take on an attacking role, but until then, she was still in the role of a formal defender. Orn also noted that Carol seemed to want to be a protector herself, but it was too dangerous for her. Sophia called out to Carol, noticing that a wolf was rushing at the girl from behind, and Orn finished the thought that she shouldn't take such risks. Then thinking that, at least this was for now, Orn used the spell Reflective Barrier, and the wolf crashed into him, also using triple speed increase. Orn rushed towards the wolf. With one lightning-fast movement of his sword, Orn cut off the wolf's head, and the children were surprised to note that Orn was very fast. And while the wolf's body was falling, Orn also landed on the ground. Looking darkly towards Carol, Orn approached her and asked her that when she fought, she should keep a close eye on her surroundings, while Carol turned towards Orn. Turning completely to Orn, Carol said that she knew that she would be attacked from behind. She deliberately did not react. Orn mentally asked himself what this meant. He did not understand. The girl's eyes again lost emotion. Orn's face reflected confusion. He noticed that Carol could have been seriously hurt and asked why she didn't dodge, at which point the girl's eyes returned to emotion, and she said that she realized she hadn't told Orn something. Then, smiling, the girl lightly slashed her knife across her wrist. Orn's eyes widened, and a couple of drops of blood fell to the ground near the girl's feet. Carol stood with her hand outstretched, which she cut, hiding her other hand behind her back and smiling. Carol continued to hold her hand like that, not doing anything, and Orn looked on in shock as blood poured out of the girl's wrist. Then, coming to his senses, Orn asked Carol to calm down and said that he would heal everything now, but, coming closer, Orn froze in shock. Because the wound on the girl's hand began to heal, Orn mentally noted that he did nothing, but the wound almost healed. Still looking amazed, Orn thought that it couldn't be that she was that strong. The documents described Carol's ability to regenerate, and the girl continued to smile. Carol cheerfully spoke about how this was her special ability. No matter how severe the wounds she received, they would heal quickly. She had a body that did not die. She had already gotten used to the pain from the wounds she received, so she asked Orn not to worry about her. Because the wound would heal, Orn remained standing silently and gloomy. As Carol continued to smile, Orn noticed that she was taking it too lightly. Because of this power, she was constantly throwing herself at monsters head-on, and if the enemy turned out to be stronger than she thought, such a dangerous way of thinking needed to be changed urgently. Then Orn exhaled and asked Carol to look at the faces of her comrades. The girl turned around in surprise and looked at the guys. Sophie's sad and upset face, as well as Loga's puzzled one, made Carol's eyes widen in fear and freeze. Orn asked the girl if she noticed how the smile disappeared from the boys' faces, and then asked if she understood why. The girl shook her head negatively, and Orn said that it was because the girl was in pain. Carol tried to justify herself by saying that she wasn't injured, but Orn replied that of course, because her wounds heal instantly, but the pain doesn't go away, Carol just got used to the pain. The girl's eyes widened again. Orn continued to say that if Carol was hurt, then her comrades would be hurt mentally too. They understood perfectly well what pain she felt, or she wanted them to smile. Realizing that the girl did not care about herself, from this, Carol was completely scared and froze, and Orn said that if she hurt herself, then they would be hurt too, and if the guys could never smile again, what would she do? From this, Carol trembled. Suddenly, the girl screamed that she didn't want this, really didn't want it, and asked Orn what she should do, and the guy looked at her and thought that, as he thought, she didn't want people around her to stop smiling at her. For her, this was the worst thing in life, and at that moment, tears gushed from the girl's eyes. Then Orn replied that everything was very simple and asked the girl to just not hurt herself anymore. Carol looked at her knives in fear, immediately letting them go and dropping them, then, stuttering, she said that she would not hurt herself anymore, and began to ask that they just smile. The girl also began to beg that they not beat her, continuing to cry. While Carol was crying with her face in her hands, Orn remembered that the report said that the girl was in a stable mental state, but he did not believe that this trauma would just disappear. Coming closer to Carol, Orn put his hand on her head and said that he was not angry and everything was fine, and when the girl looked at him, he assured Carol that no one would hit her here. Then the guy promised that if someone hurt Carol, he would not leave a wet spot of them, continuing to stroke the girl. Orn assured that therefore everything was fine. The girl's eyes again became alive and full of emotions, finally realizing that everything was fine and repeating this. Under Orn's warm hand, the girl closed her eyes and allowed herself to continue to be stroked while the boys waited to the side. Orn mentally noted that he saw all three of them in action. Today is the end and they can return, sum up the results, glancing to the side. Orn also decided that he would help destroy all the monsters on the way back. For now, he does not want to take risks because he does not know how Carol will react to meeting another monster. When the boys returned from the labyrinth, Orn said that it was time to sum things up, and he would start by saying that he would teach the children every other day. They were free to go to the labyrinth together. When they did not have classes with him, the boys thanked him, but Orn immediately warned that there were 4 conditions, and Log asked again about the conditions. Orn began to list that, firstly, the guys are simply exploring the labyrinth. Secondly, they do not challenge the bosses. Thirdly, until he gives permission, they cannot go down below the 11th floor. And fourthly, The guys do not take on too much. In the end, Orn asked to promise that the children will not violate these conditions. The guys responded unanimously and positively. He also added that on days when the children do not have classes for several days, if they go to the labyrinth, they should use the second day for a full rest. As he said, children should not take on too much. Free time and rest are also very important. Log agreed, and Sophie thought about it. Orn noticed this and said that if they had nothing to do, he recommended reading something. Their library had many useful books, and the children would definitely find something interesting there. Orn smiled slightly, and Sophie looked at him puzzled. Then he said that the children were free, the children thanked him, and Carol silently stood up from her seat, which surprised Sophie and headed for the exit. Sophie nodded to Orn and also went to the exit, saying goodbye to Orn, who also looked at Carol puzzled. Orn sighed heavily and thought that he thought there were better teachers here than him. Then Log called out to him. Orn turned his attention to him, and the boy asked if Orn had a minute. The boy asked what was wrong. The boy hesitated, and then asked how Orn assessed Log's current abilities. He wanted to hear Orn's opinion of him. Orn looked at the boy carefully and thought that he could tell Log the truth, because Log would understand that he still had room to grow. Orn replied that Log was now equal in strength to an A-rank adventurer. Log would have no problem joining some group. The boy widened his eyes in surprise, and then thanked Orn and said that the boy's words gave the boy confidence. So, Log stood up and asked Orn if he could teach the boy how to wield a sword. His seriousness puzzled Orn, and the boy wondered why a sorcerer would wield a sword. Then he voiced the question out loud. Log admitted that today he saw Carol, and he was very worried if she would continue to be their only vanguard. If he could take on the vanguard as well, then Log would ease her burden. Besides, Log, like Orn, wanted to become an explorer who could do everything. A little surprised that Log wanted this for the sake of the group. Orn said that if the boy was still going to learn the sword, then the guy could not give any guarantees that Log would be good at both magic and the sword. Log replied that he was ready for this. He understood that it was a risk, but he could handle it. Orn thought that Log was right. A balanced group needs a second vanguard, but being in the vanguard, distributing strengthening spells and commanding at the same time is very difficult. If so, then Sophia will have to command. Of course you can try. Then Orn said that he understands Log's feelings, but it is better to discuss this together with everyone. Log understood everything and agreed. Then Orn said that he was not going to teach Log the sword. Log immediately became scared and asked in a raised voice why, and then clarified whether he really had no potential at all. Orn raised his hands in a sign of reconciliation and said that he had expressed himself incorrectly and he would teach the child to use another weapon, a weapon that sorcerers often use, because when an enemy suddenly appears nearby, it is better to always have Log's weapon at hand. Taking something in his hands, Orn said that he would teach Log not fencing. Something clicked and the stick, having lengthened, hit the floor. Log widened his eyes in surprise, and Orn added that it would be mastery of a spear. Meanwhile, a group of explorers walking through the snowy mountains finally reached the 76th floor. The members of the research group were the magician Anelia, the sorcerer Fury, the swordsman Oliver, the healer Luna, and the protector Derek. Walking through the snowy forest, Anelia was indignant about why they were collecting magic stones on the lower floors. Luna told Anelia not to complain and then added that until they fulfilled the norm, they were forbidden to move further. Anelia noted that this was unfair. Oliver replied that this was a completely feasible task, nothing supernatural, and therefore asked the guys to try. Oliver mentally noticed that they were currently fulfilling an order from the guild to collect a large amount of magic stones. Because the heroes group made a mistake, because of them, the boss of the 92nd floor, the Black Dragon, ended up on the 50th floor. So the guild took matters into their own hands and wanted to use forced movement. Forced movement is a large-scale magic that requires a huge amount of magic stones. As a penalty, they need to collect the required magic stones, so they came to the 76th floor, where you can find many monsters. Oliver was pulled out of his thoughts by Fury's call. Activating the magic, Fury said that a group of monsters was approaching them. Oliver said that he understood and called everyone to prepare for battle. Then mentally noted that Fury would not have enough strength to keep track of everyone, let alone cast a boost, so they refused the boost. There are no problems with the command, but still, Orn is really an amazing sorcerer. Oliver closed his eyes and remembered that when they had banished Orn, he had nothing against him. Oliver had considered it necessary, so he had not hesitated. He had to become the strongest, and if it didn't work out, then he will lose again what is dear to him. In order not to lose what he values so much, he gave up his childhood friend, and if necessary, he is ready to crush Orn, recalling a conversation with a certain man, Oliver thought. Looking at Oliver, the man said that he had a very interesting look. As Oliver walked away from the mansion, the unknown man turned around and asked if everything was okay now. The space behind him distorted, and someone replied that there were no problems now. A man in a cloak appeared smiling in front of the unknown man. The man noted that he could easily get rid of this article. It could harm his reputation. The man in the cloak chuckled and noted that people only become stronger when they are driven into a corner. To reveal Oliver's potential, he needs to be pressed a little more. The man narrowed his eyes and told this stranger that she was an evil woman, playing with him and the boys as she pleased. The stranger in the cloak clarified, and then asked that isn't the man the same person as she is? The man turned away and answered that she shouldn't rake him under the same comb. Looking out the window, the man said that he had no dreams, no ideals, he just needed to win, which meant he had to be. With those who ruled this world, the woman said that she couldn't understand their ideas until they crossed him. They wouldn't lose. Then, turning around, she said she would go, and the man just nodded. When the woman said that they would see each other again soon and disappeared in a stream of magic, the man turned around for a second and thought that she was a strange woman. But he needed her so that he could continue to win. Meanwhile, the woman appeared in another room. Exhaling heavily, she noticed that the space jump was hard to use. Suddenly someone gasped from behind, and the woman turned around, and Anelia said that she had finally found the traveler, and then immediately asked if the woman had to wear a hood all the time. Finding out that it was Fury, Anelia saw Fury take off her hood completely and was surprised. Then Fury recognized Anelia and asked what Anelia was doing in such a deserted place. Anelia asked Fury not to ask stupid questions and said that Fury just suddenly disappeared, so they were looking for her. Then added that Luna also went to look for Fury. They were all wondering where she went. Fury smiled sweetly and noted that Anelia was looking for her, then apologized and asked if she made Anelia look for her. Anelia meanwhile nervously looked around and asked where they were. While Anelia was not looking, Fury's expression changed, and she said that wherever she went, they always looked after her, while smiling ominously. Then, incidentally, Fury noted that Luna had returned home. Anelia asked if it was true, then complained that they were having a hard time in the group, and Luna did so and asked if Fury found it selfish. Meanwhile, at the Flockhart mansion, someone approached the young lady. Standing in her father's office, Luna said that she had returned home, then asked if her father was too busy and asked for some time because she wanted to talk. Her father, without looking up from his paperwork, asked if it could wait. Pascal Flockhart was the head of the Flockhart company. Luna frowned, and her father finally paid attention to her and, grimacing with displeasure, asked what Luna wanted. The girl started the conversation. Looking at her father, Luna seriously stated that she wanted to leave the heroes group, looking extremely determined and unwavering. Her father continued to grimace, and asked only about the reason for such a desire. Luna noticed that if Pascal had read today's newspaper, he should know that people were disappointed in the group of heroes. It was not beneficial for her as a member of the Flockhart family to continue to be in it. She planned to leave. As soon as they finished the task for the magic stones, her father suddenly slammed his fist on the table, jumped up and shouted about what Luna would do if their deal with the Marquis was broken because of this. Pascal continued to shout and asked if Luna would take responsibility, and then said that their family only became so influential because they had a good relationship with the Marquis of Fogus's family. Luna bit her lip in frustration at this, and Pascal said that he would not let Luna destroy what he had spent so long building. Luna wondered in her mind about the good relationship and whether her father was simply following all the orders the Marquis gave him. As Luna continued to think, she noticed that they had previously aimed for more, but had become just another errand boy for the Marquis, and her father said that Luna had something written on her face, that she wanted to say something. Then he exhaled and said that Luna was the daughter of the Flockhart family, so she should understand everything and had no choice but to continue being in the group. Looking down, the girl thought that she had no choice but to obey, then noticed that nothing changed. But the next moment her eyes widened. Remembering Orn, Oliver, Marquis Fogus, her father and herself as a little girl, Luna smiled sadly and thought that her whole life was just subordination to the will of others. Recalling the events of 11 years ago, in the orphanage of the city of Tsutrail, the children gathered around the girl and talked about how lucky she was to be taken into a rich family. Another child said that Luna was chosen only because she was so beautiful. Another child wished Luna good luck, and the dark-haired girl said that Luna should not worry too much about them and live happily. Luna, then 7 years old, holding flowers in her hands, smiled and thanked the children, and the teacher who came said that a man from the Flockhart family came for her and asked the girl to get ready. When Luna was an orphan, she was taken from an orphanage by the Flockhart family. This family ran a large trading company. Luna thought that now she would have a mom and dad. Then she was just glad that they chose her. Arriving at the mansion, the girl, smiling, thought that everything was exactly as she read in the picture book. A warm and big house was waiting for her. So she thought. A gloomy man came out to Luna, the head of the Flockhart company. Pascal Flockhart. Luna was too naive. Every time for failure she was beaten and scolded for crying, saying that she should be strong. The girl promised that she would try, and Pascal said that the future of this house depended on her. She would have to become a good bride of an influential person. Luna quietly agreed with this, because she was not the beloved daughter of the Flockharts, as she dreamed. For them she was just a tool for a future political marriage. She came to terms with it. Because the conditions were still much better than in the orphanage and she received a good education, if she could become a good bride, she would not let her new family down, which meant she could live a good life, so she had to try. But in the end, she was never used for the arranged marriage, because she was found to have a special ability. A proposal came from Marquise Fogus. Her father said that Marquise Fogus was interested in Luna's ability and said that he would help them expand their business if they agreed to his condition, so Pascal decided to accept Fogus's proposal. Luna asked what the condition was, and Pascal replied that she would meet 2 young men in the city, and together they would become one research group. Supposedly by chance, the girl met Orn and Oliver. The boys treated the girl very positively and friendly. Gradually, Luna also began to become attached to them, spend time with them, and eventually began to smile more often. Because she met the guys only because of the deal with the Marquis, Luna felt some guilt, but for her, the guys became irreplaceable comrades. The girl had fun every day. She would never have thought that she would fall in love with the labyrinth, which was a damn dangerous place. Luna became stronger but did not leave, because she valued their friendship. Emerging from her memories, the girl wondered why Marquise Fogus brought them together, and how he knew that they would be in the city. Did he really see them as heroes with a promising future? But over time, Ornu had to leave the group, which greatly upset Luna. And when Orn was gone, the heroes' group was at a dead end. At this rate, Luna's life would be in danger, so she had to do something. Luna called out to her father again, but the man said that the conversation was over. Luna firmly said no, and asked him what value the group represented. When Orn had already left it, remaining unwavering, the girl looked at her father. Luna said that without Orn, the group had lost a real talent, then asked if her father was sure that Marquise Fogus would like this. She didn't understand what the point was. Her father grimaced again and asked what was so hard to understand, then said that Orn Duel was not important to them. Luna's eyes widened in surprise, and the man said that she was in that group to support Oliver Cardiff. Orn was a fake who accidentally defeated the Black Dragon, and the real hero was Oliver Cardiff. The girl frowned for a second, wondering about a real hero, and then wondered if her father was even serious. Then the girl said in a raised voice that Oliver couldn't defeat the floor boss, especially alone. Didn't what Orn did look like a hero's feat from legends who defeated an evil god? Her father got even more angry and slammed his fist on the table and yelled that the girl didn't understand anything, so why did she open her mouth? The girl's eyes widened in fear, and her father asked her if she had forgotten who had taken her from the orphanage, and then said that she should listen to what she was told and not open her mouth. Continuing to scream, the man said that Luna should not leave the group and asked if she understood it. The girl looked down and bit her lip, stuttering that she understood him. A little later, lying in her room, the girl thought that there was some truth in her father's words, that she had been even worse off in the orphanage. Perhaps she would have already died from an accidental wound or illness, that this home had saved her life, and she had to repay him. However, at this rate, the heroes' group, even with Derek and Anelia, the group does not have much time left. Collapse is inevitable. In the worst case, they will die in the next descent into the labyrinth, and Luna does not want to die. Getting out of bed, the girl resolutely thought that she can no longer remain just an observer, and will act as a mediator among the members of the group, preventing its collapse. As Luna walked down the hallway, she thought about the hero from the legends and how, if he existed, she wouldn't mind his help right now, but the hero didn't exist, and Luna would just be used until she died, that's all. She understands that she cannot wish for this, but she still wants to break her chains and be free. Meanwhile, it has been about 3 weeks since Orn joined the Rabbits. Today he is training the 10th group. Being on the training ground of the group, Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky, Orn watched the children train. Carol running said that it was hard for her and she wanted to rest. Orn said that another 5 minutes, and he believed in her, then drew the girl's attention to the fact that the third number was on fire. Carol ran to the pole, and Orn noted that he was training Carol's endurance by lighting the lights on the numbered poles he had created, and the girl had to run to them and touch each one. Trying to run fast, Carol indignantly asked how long she could run, said that she used acceleration, then deceleration, then she changed direction, and then repeated it again, stretching out that she was tired. To this, Orn said that the girl used daggers, which meant that she would fight at close range. In addition to high endurance, she would also need agility and the ability to quickly change direction. The girl stuttered and clarified about agility, and then said that they had this. Orn asked in confusion what exactly this was. Carol explained that she meant the magic of increasing agility. If you use it, you don't need to train. But Orn said that support magic alone is of no use. It is very important to be strong and agile yourself, otherwise support magic will not be implemented properly either. Orn also said that the stronger the girl becomes, the more useful the enhancing magic will be for her, and asked her to understand this, because it is important to have good basic skills, then saying that 3 more minutes and that's it. Orn urged Carol on, and the girl whined discontentedly. The guy thought that even though she was whining, she was still doing it and smiled. In the future, it would be better for Carol to not only dodge well, but also fight skillfully on the front lines. The girl wouldn't mind either. Her thinking after that day should definitely have changed. Then Orn turned his attention to Log, who was training with a spear on the other side. The boy twirled and waved the spear, and Orn noted that Logan was practicing with the spear. And over time, Orn plans to transfer the boy to practical training. Then Logan will be taught by Will, because the boy will cope with this much better than Orn. Because Will handles the spear much better than Orn, Will agreed to come once a week, for which Orn and Log thanked him, and the boy said to leave it to him. Then Orn turned to Sophie, who was still counting backwards and reminded herself to hit with her left hand. Sophie was practicing parallel thinking. She started with 500 and counted out by 7. After every third subtraction, she hit the armrest with her left hand, and after the fourth, she hit with her right hand. In all other cases, she hit with both hands. This trains her multitasking. This way, it will be easier for Sophie to learn parallel spell creation in the future. She is having a hard time now, but there is already progress. Noting that time is up, Orn saw Carol flop down on her back. Orn praised the girl and told her to rest, and Carol said that she was tired. Orn mentally noted that after a long run, it is better not to stop abruptly. After examining each of the children, Orn noticed that the children were extremely exhausted. Then, smiling, the guy thought that the children were great. Log called out to the teacher and asked how Orn was handling his spear. Having made an association with the fact that Log looks like a puppy, Orn replied that it was already much better, and then noted that they still need to train and they will be able to move on to a new stage. Log clarified whether this was true, and then became happy, and Orn thought that the boy at first seemed impudent to Orn, but turned out to be a good guy. Then, Log said that, and yet he was surprising. He asked what was going on. Suddenly, Log answered that he was following all of them, and at the same time managed to use the flash. The boy noted that, although for Orn it was nothing to use so many spells at the same time, for Log it was simply something unearthly and amazing. Orn, looking at the boy, thought that as soon as he did at least something, Log would start praising him. Log added that Orn was very cool. The guy noted that he was glad that the boy admired him so much. It seemed to him that the child blindly believed in Orn, smiling. Orn said that the boy should try hard, and hoped that Log would be able to maintain the right balance, and this to some extent also depended on Orn. Orn noted that 3 weeks had passed very quickly since he joined the clan. He still found it hard to believe that he had become a teacher, and in addition to that, he helps Celsa in the office, communicates with sponsors, and also collects materials and trains together with the first squad. Remembering that Orn had ordered the sword and there was only 1 week left, he thought that once the sword was ready, the boy could finally begin exploring the labyrinth. Firstly, he wanted them to defeat the Black Dragon on the 92nd floor with the first squad, and they must definitely succeed. Then, saying that the guys had had enough rest and it was time to repeat it again, Orn said that this was the last time and they were finishing. Log asked if they had anything else to do today. Orn replied that something like that. Calling out to his grandfather, Orn said that he was coming in and, after greeting him, apologized for being late. Turning around, the grandfather said that he was glad that Orn had come and that he was just getting ready to close. Asking if Orn would wait, the guy offered to help, and the grandfather thanked the guy. Orn said that he would do everything and admitted that he was currently developing new magic. So Orn came to ask his grandfather for advice. His grandfather mumbled that he could help with something. Orn asked what his grandfather was saying and said that it was his grandfather who taught Orn magic, and this magical data storage tool was created thanks to his grandfather. His grandfather smiled and chuckled. To this, he said that Grandpa was simply amazing, then corrected himself and said that he called Grandpa Coverdale Evans because it was better to call him that. Grandpa turned away and said that he had refused that name. The boy looked at him sadly. Coverdale Evans is a legendary wizard whose name is known to the whole world. He created so many magical tools that no one else could have created. Coverdale wrote his name into history. Orn does not know why his grandfather hides his true name. He even hid it from the guy before. One day, Grandpa just took and told Orn everything. Coverdale taught Orn magic and also created this magical tool for storing things, but the secret that only Orn and Grandpa know, the guy is not going to reveal the real identity of Grandpa, as well as the secret of creating this magical tool. Besides, for this world, Coverdale Evans should be dead, because there were many people who envied his talent and, supposedly, because of bad treatment, Coverdale committed suicide. Why Coverdale faked his death and why he didn't tell Orn about it for so long, he doesn't know, but his grandfather has helped him so many times that for Orn he is a member of the family. Grandfather meanwhile asked if something was bothering Orn, and the guy said no. After a while, he said in surprise that he of course wanted advice, but it was very hard for him to believe it, because it was amazing and could work, and his grandfather only said that he had not done anything special. Smiling, Orn said that he believed his grandfather, and mentally noted that his grandfather always helps him. Then his grandfather started talking about the fact that Orn was developing interesting magic, and his grandfather did not doubt his student. Orn thanked his grandfather and said that when his grandfather praised him so much, he believed that everything would definitely work out. He also noted that this spell was almost the same as instant increase in ability. It was already the 18th. Repeating Orn's words, Coverdale thought about it, and Orn asked his grandfather what was wrong with his puzzled face. Coverdale called out to Orn and asked if the guy thought that this was a magical glitch. The guy's face took on a surprised expression. The guy said that this should completely change the support magic. This is a breakthrough, not some kind of glitch. The grandfather replied that he understood and said that it was still Orn's ability. Then he hesitated for a moment without continuing the word. Orn asked what was wrong with his ability, but the grandfather said that nothing and did not continue this conversation. The guy noted that something was clearly bothering Coverdale, but since he was not ready to talk yet, then everything was fine. Then the grandfather again turned to Orn and said that he needed to tell the guy something. Orn was surprised, and Coverdale said that he had heard something interesting. Orn clarified that it was such an important rumor that it was worth paying attention to. Grandpa mumbled and said that if this rumor was true, then it was a big deal. Orn asked what it was. Grandpa frowned and said, "Amunzas," hesitating again, and Orn squeezed the glass in his hand. Then the grandfather added that the explorers' killers were here and they had begun to operate in the southern labyrinth. Orn's expression reflected extreme concern and even fear. Clenching his fist and biting his lip, Orn noted that now was the perfect time to explore the deep floors, and that the explorer killers had appeared in the southern labyrinth at this very moment. Meanwhile, in the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky Clan's public bathhouse, Carol noted that she was alive again and exhaled, then turned to Sophie, asking if she thought the same. Smiling blissfully, the girl said that it was true because Orn's teacher's training was so hard. Then she mentally noted that they decided to take a bath after today's grueling training, and Carol noted that Sophie's training was very hard. Sophie cooed and said that she thought so, but Carol's running was clearly harder. Carol nodded and said that she was very tired, but she had fun training her body. The teacher during training was just like a demon, but this does not mean that they are going to give up. These are difficulties on their way to becoming great. Sophie agreed with Carol, thinking that Teacher Orn trains and cares for them, and he always gives them good advice. Sophie then noted that these trainings are so hard and difficult only because Orn wants to protect them, and the girl trusts Orn. Then smiling, Sophia said that Orn was still spending his precious time on them, and to thank him, they should become stronger, so they will try. Carol said that this was a great idea, and to thank the teacher, they will try. With these words, the girl raised her hand up, and then they heard the creak of the door, and someone called them by name.